I wouldn't say I'm a feminist personally, but I do have certain belief systems, I guess, that you could say aligns with feminism. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to hear that, because when you came in the previous live, I think people take your us,
I think oftentimes when I speak, people assume that I'm feminist. Yeah. I would say that.
But what ideas is the same in feminism is to, like, what examples?
Like when it comes to women having autonomy over their body, like ABs and like marriage laws, like divorce, like women being able to divorce and all of these things. So like I think it's just basic human rights things, to be honest. I don't believe in sameness now. I can recognize the difference between men and women. I don't believe in sameness, but I do believe in equality and women having like ownership of their life. You understand what I'm trying to say? And I think when it comes to a lot of men who are against feminism, it's because they want to be in control of women and what women do. Right? And I often find that a lot of religious men are like that. They're only religious when it comes to oppressing women. But when it comes to following like the Bible or the Quran, they're not following it at all. Not at all.
I Muslim myself, I know like we have been taught to respect and to behave properly in front of our wives, because that the Prophet said, those who are the best of you is the ones who is best to your wives.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that woman has a right to divorce as long as the condition are sufficient, like the husband is toxic, the husband is abusive, etc. You know what I mean?
Right.
But divorce it because you felt like it isn't allowed. I don't agree with if you just divorce because you felt like it. You know what I mean? Like usually modern day divorce, most of these are basically both of the husband and wife argue with each other, not like fist fight, but basic argument. They can't get along with each other and they divorce. I don't think that's right. I
don't know. I feel like if somebody isn't, like if a relationship is going downhill and like taking like a toxic turn, I think then you can definitely separate yourself from that dynamic. I don't think somebody should stay in a toxic relationship by any means.
It depends. There's a lot of situations that can happen.
But then this is the thing though, I feel like when I hear people say this, like women aren't getting divorced for no reason, right? There's actually stats on like reasons why women are getting divorced. And it's mainly DV, money issues, or cheating, right? And all of those things come down to the man, unfortunately.
I'm very sorry, I can't hear you clearly. What do you say again? Money, cheating, and what?
DV, domestic, and also...
Yeah. Or domestic abuse, of course, the woman can also get divorced. Cheating, if the husband went to another woman, of course the woman can divorce. Mm-hmm. Money issue, I'm not sure what you talk about the money issue.
Like financial issues.
Like what do you mean?
Like, let's say if they're having financial troubles, like a lot of debt, can't pay their bills, all that type of jazz. A lot of people get divorced for financial issues. And I would say that's down to the man. Yes or no?
Yeah, but that's not divorce. I don't think that should be.
You don't think you should, but then this is the thing, though. You're not playing your part in your role in the relationship, and this is what I have an issue with. A lot of guys preach about traditionalism in a relationship, right? But then you don't even understand your role in a relationship, right? But then you don't even understand your role in that traditional relationship. You're looking for a traditional wife, but a non-traditional relationship. So if you're not fulfilling your role and providing for your wife, right? And then you guys are having all of these money issues, then yeah, I think that should be grounds for divorce.
Yes, but the thing is, I believe man should provide for the woman and the children, and the woman should keep her own money, and the man should be provided because he is the head of the house, so he should take care of the family as always. The thing is, I'm not sure we should talk about money issue. Like, is the man being a bum or
Zado? I think. Yeah, Zado.
The government or institution he can't control, like out of his control, you know what I mean? Like he can't also control the situation on him, and it just down spiral. I don't think that's a good cause for divorcing, you know? Like if the man become more in debt, losing money, not because he done something stupid, but like environmental, like in the environment in that country, when that government, some shit happened, like Great Depression, like it wasn't in his hand. Like everybody felt it, you know, in USA back in Great Depression. It wasn't the man's fault. Everybody felt it. And therefore, I don't think that's a ground for divorce, in my opinion.
But then that's the thing, exactly. But if a woman wasn't, like, let's say she wasn't cooking, she wasn't cleaning, and she wasn't doing these quote unquote duties that are applied to her in a traditional relationship, then people would like demonize her and say that, okay, yeah, maybe he should get a divorce because she isn't a good wife. But then when we kind of look at the male role in it, like I'm saying in the traditional relationship, right? If a man isn't fulfilling that for a reason, right, then we should be able to look at that and say, okay, she can bow out of this because that's not what they agreed to when they entered into that relationship.
I don't know about other people traditionalists, but the traditional values, the woman can do whatever she wants. As the woman, if she wants to feel like doesn't want to clean, she doesn't need to clean. She doesn't need to cook us always. She doesn't.
Okay, so if your wife decided today there's no cooking, no cleaning, she just does her thing, would you say, okay, would you be comfortable with that? Would you be okay with that?
I don't care.
I don't believe you.
I swear to God, I don't care.
I don't believe you.
I'll do it myself.
Actually, Sister Terry, I actually spoke about the way you're saying you don't believe it. It did say that in the beginning that you support women's right. You support that men and women should get paid, when it comes to the experience, when it comes to dedication to the job itself. But yeah, you're right to say you don't believe what you're saying, but he's been defending women from the beginning, this conversation.
Yeah, but then that doesn't mean that your wife should be alone. See, that's the thing. I feel like there's extremists on both sides. So, like me personally, right? I wouldn't class myself as like overtly traditional, right? So let's say now if my partner decided one day he wanted to be a bum, deuces, I gotta go because I have goals and things that I want to achieve. And if he's not, like, if he decides one day that he doesn't want to have that mentality, I can't stay. Like, I can't do that.
Was he a bum because he lost his job because of the situation, or just because he felt like it? I just want to know.
It depends. See, this is the thing. I feel like people change in relationships. People change over time in general. So you can't really tell. So let's say now, in a couple of years, he loses his job. He gets, like, he's not motivated to get another job. He is kind of downtrodden, like bad on his luck and everything. Baby, I gotta go. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
But in my opinion, that is not a situation unless this guy is willing to be a bum. If he loses his job for other reasons that he couldn't control, I don't think that's a cause for divorce.
Yeah, I don't think if somebody loses their job, it's how they behave after that. That's what I'm saying. If he loses his job and he just kind of like gives up and he's just like, not able to get back on his feet for whatever.
Would you help me get back on my feet, Butterfly?
That's a fairy.
That's not a fairy. No, it is.
Yeah.
The thing is,
fairy, would you help me?
Would I help you? I don't know yet.
In that situation,
I don't know you.
I mean, come on.
Okay, would I help my partner get back on? Obviously, yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm your partner.
I don't think you're my partner, babe.
No,
she is. She's just trying.
You're a little bit too orange for me.
Orange?
Not really my type, yeah. The orange and blonde.
In my opinion, women and men should complement each other because God created us two. Although we're different.
You don't like a bit of orange, fairy? Come on.
I'm good on orange, thanks.
One of your 5 a day.
This conversation is going to the south. It's not.
Sounds like you're pretty stingy.
That's crazy.
You need a bit of me.
But there's bad people of the bad genders and there's bad people of the
I personally identify as a black person.
Oh no, here we go. Here we go.
Right, what do you mean, let's go? Yeah, the Lorax on top.
What?
Yeah, but LCM, are you a feminist? Would you class yourself as a feminist?
Mine.
The host.
I mean, just fun.
Well, no.
Oh, that was my chair. It's
No, it wasn't you. God, you just let it guess.
You need to learn how to read.
Oh gosh, this person's mad as hell.
Okay.
Gosh.
But yeah, would you class
What
yourself
an
as a
software
feminist?
engineer, software science, what an impressive person. Software engineer, occasional thinker, frequent coffee drinker, yet spends their time on TikTok. What a wonderful, riveting individual.
Craven, Craven, what do you think about feminism then?
I think if it's under what it was actually originally premised under, great. But when you've got people like Software Siren, over the top feminists, I think it's very harmful to today's society. I love your hair, mate. Looks great.
What makes her over the top?
Oh, thank you, man.
Your business, man. Anyway, host, you look great tonight, mate. Very dapper in the suit.
Thank you, man. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me. I'm gonna drop off. Bye.
Why, Ferry? Are you busy, Ferry? Okay, then.
Everyone left.
That was interesting, back and forth.
Yes.
Well, okay. It always happens. We always end up like going north when it comes to the panel. But anyway, it's part of it.
Shall we invite someone else? Did someone request it or no?
Yeah. No, nobody requested. Yeah, I'm sending the request now again. Oh no, it's the software. She's busy at the moment. I invite more people to come in. And come on, ladies. What do you think about feminism? Gents, what do you think about feminism? Hello, Sister Dem. How are you doing? All right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, the panel today is about feminism. What do you think about feminism personally?
You already know what I think about feminism because I gave you this prompt.
But, yeah, you're right.
I think feminism is a good thing. That's my standpoint. I don't really know what else to say about it.
What benefit do you think? What benefit do you think feminism can bring to society and contribute to society?
Equity of women's rights of equal to a man.
That's not what equity is. That would be equality.
Gender equality, yeah.
Equity, which is putting women at the same starting points as men, so they're able to achieve the same thing or have an equal, like a more equal race to the finish line.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Yes, I agree with it. They're both women's rights and men's rights has to be equal. So we're all equal, although we're different. We're all equal.
Exactly, and that's why it's important we differentiate between equality and equity. When I think of feminism, I think of equity rather than equality, because equality can never truly be equal,
Like, what do you mean? Can you give examples?
Yeah, so, I mean, the patriarchy is run by men. So even if we were to give women the exact same rights as men now, they've had thousands and thousands of years of head start. So equity would be putting women at the same place in society as men, or putting them, because you have to acknowledge that men and women are different. And in saying that, you have to, if you want equity for all, that means putting, okay, I'll give you an example, like outside of feminism. Let me think. Like people with disabilities, right? You can give them equality, but they will never be at the same starting point as someone who is able-bodied. So equity would be putting them at the same starting point, giving them, I don't know what the word would be, like giving them not extra benefits, but a stepping stone to be able to be at the same starting point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't you guys already have starting point like now? Like you guys have the same education skills, like same education level being taught. The only thing you guys being taught is like if you want to be taught more, want to be specialized more, you guys have to show your value, your skills, not your gender. Number two, jobs, not entertainment sector. I meant like a skill level job like engineers, scientists, doctors, etc. The people hiring you won't look at you. They will only look at your qualification.
That's statistically not true at all. But that's why I advocate for equity, because what you're talking about is equality. I've just explained that if a patriarchy was created by males, it's going to be very, very hard for women to get to the same starting point as a man who is just starting out. It doesn't matter where you put women, whether you've given them equality and the same rights to learn and the same rights to do X, Y, and Z. They will never be at the same starting point because men have had thousands of years ahead of women. So it's not just about skill level, and it's not just about education, and there's plenty of things that go into it. We know that still till this day, women are not paid equally. I've experienced this myself. And this is in the UK. It happens a lot in America as well. And all over the world, women are still not at the same starting points as men. So advocating for equality is inherently, it doesn't make any sense. Equity is what we want. So no, we don't start at the same point, no.
Number one, the patriarchy of men ended like a long time ago. Number two, I don't know what thousands of years of a head start you're talking about, like thousands of years of a head of what? Like what?
I've just explained it like 3 times.
Yeah, I know, but I'm kind of a little bit confused. Like what thousands of years of a head do they have? Like what? Like
because up until about 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, women couldn't even have bank accounts. Women couldn't own anything. So men have had thousands of years of head start in terms of
voting rights.
Opportunity. Women have only just obtained that. And then if we talk about countries like Afghanistan, where women are still being executed and made to stay in their houses, made to cover up, made to do all of these things against their will, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So I don't really understand what you don't understand.
I don't think Afghanistan is even a good example of how, because
it is.
No, I don't think it's a good example because clearly banning off women. I know what they do is completely wrong. It's completely wrong. It's not justified in any way, but I don't think it's like related to the 1,000 years of men being a stuff.
It is, and that's it. What do you mean? Of course, they're not excluded because of religion. Like every single men in every category, whether that's white men, Arab men, black men, it doesn't matter. They, like every single category of men, have had a head start on women. You can't deny that. To deny that when we deny the fact that the patriarchy exists, which is inherently wrong, and it's not true, is it? You have to I like to go off fact and logic rather than emotion. And logic says that what I'm saying is correct.
The thing is, 1,000 years of head start of what? The thing is, there's so many events happening during this time in the millennium. Like, if you want to talk about achievement of men, sometimes, most of the time, they get resetted because maybe a new empire came, destroyed, or they either have been conquered, etc., and etc. So I'm kind of still confused. What achievement of what? Like, what 1,000 years?
Everything. I don't know how else to explain this to you. I've just explained it like 4 times. Like everything.
Vote, Zado, vote your right, land ownership, property ownership,
Thank you.
almost everything she's talking about.
Now I get it, like property ownership, land ownership.
Like anything else, property ownership, land ownership, voting right, right to speak at least. That's one of the things, right to speak, and many other socially, right to.
It's partially true. you have to remember, it's not 1,000 years of men achieving this. It's like most of the time, those a lot of things, especially back in the beforehand, there was a lot of wars, a lot of things going on, being conquered left and right. One empire starts, another
they
empire.
were started by men.
Yes.
All of those things that you're talking about were started by men because they had the power to do so. Women couldn't start a war. Men started wars.
To say Queen Elizabeth the First. I mean, it's not gender that plays in the role; it's the system and the political situation around them that forces. Yes, however, majority are men. However, it is not gender that based a factor on people starting war. It is the situation and geopolitical environment around them that makes them start war.
Well, but statistically, what you've just said is incorrect.
But hold on, I'm gonna have to charge my phone. Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah.
I'm muting myself. Is that good enough?
Yes. But yeah, good you mentioned this thing, Sister Dam. So obviously you couldn't just tell him voting right, right to open a bank account, right to buy a land, right to own the properties. You shouldn't be you didn't have time to explain it mention each name.
I just feel like I explained myself 4 times. I don't know how else to explain it.
But still, I think you both. I think still you both are defending almost the same thing, women rights.
In my opinion, I'm not saying I don't know if it's correct or not. I don't believe 1,000 years of achievement of men. For example, let's imagine this situation. Yes, I agree there was a patriarchy of men. There's no, I can't argue with that. Let's say the man is 500 meters at the start ahead of the woman. But every time the man faces a situation and the distance decreases and increases, the distance between them increases and decreases. It's going on and off. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because there's so many things happening.
But it doesn't make a difference. By being a man, you inherently have a better chance at achieving than women because of the obstacles placed in front of women to get into anything. That is statistically true. Go and look it up. I'm not just talking out my ass. This is the truth. These are people's experiences. This is what women have been experiencing. People don't just make movements for no reason. We've got the 4B movement going on right now where women are refusing to reproduce because they're sick and tired of living under a male patriarchy system.
Is that mostly in South Korea, that movement?
Yeah, it's spreading everywhere now.
But it's not in South Korea. Do I need to say what's happening in South Korea? I mean, the elites are hoarding off houses. It causes division between man and woman, so they can keep doing their own things. I mean, it's not really a gender thing. It's more like a class thing. It's more of a class war situation.
It's a gender thing. And again, you keep denying the truth. The truth is, it is a gender thing. With the rising amounts of SA and the cost of living crisis all over the world, women are deciding that it's just not beneficial for them to get married. It's just not beneficial for them to have children anymore. That is women's experiences. You're not going to sit here and diminish them because that would just be false. Again,
this happens because of the elites. The people are hoarding off resources, which leave us both common people, both women and men, and they cause division on us. So division and hatred. We should work together to a common goal to make our life better and our children's lives and the next generation lives better. But
I would love that.
Huh?
I would love that. However, time and time again, and I'm just telling you statistics. I'm not talking about I'm married. I'm married to a man. I agree that men and women should work together. However, I also understand the experiences that women go through every single day. And I'm sick and tired of men, and they have every right to be. Hence why they're removing their power. I don't know what else to say. I've explained my standpoint. I don't really want to argue back and forth about it because, again, I can't understand your experience and you definitely can't understand mine as a woman. And I mean, you don't agree with statistics, so we'll just leave it at that.
I never rejected it though. I'm just trying to explain what I never rejected statistics. I never said I rejected. I'm saying I agree with it, but not all of it. There has to be a cause and effect of these things happening. Like you said about the rise in SA. Yes, I can see there's a rise in SA of women. However, is it because of their gender? No, it's because of the lack of punishment of that towards that disgusting crime. Because if people who will think about trying to commit the act through the consequences once they get caught, like I say, there will be on a life penalty, they won't dare to do it because they know the consequences.
I don't think that that's necessarily true because men, like throughout history, have done whatever they wanted. The system is built for men, so I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's bad people everywhere, and they're going to do what they're going to do, regardless of what the punishment may be. And we're seeing that now. I do know, but you know what? I do agree. There's not harsh enough punishments. We do need harsher punishments, but we also need re-education. And this is why a lot of women are just sick and tired of being around men because of their standpoints and their viewpoints on life and on women and on women's bodies. It's anger that is fueling the movement. For women, they're angry and they're beyond anger.
So women's body, I didn't understand it. English isn't my native language. I'm sorry, but can you repeat it?
It's okay. Yeah. So I said women are getting sick and tired of men making laws and controlling women's bodies. They're sick of it, especially in this day and age. This movement is fueled off anger, and rightly so.
What laws like the man create or the government creates that?
Abortion laws. Abortion laws is one of them. Yeah.
Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
That doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant to the conversation.
No, but okay. I'm just trying to make a standpoint. Like
you can do that without knowing.
So the abortion laws. That's it. Is there more?
I mean, sure, but let's focus on that.
I mean, I think abortion should be banned.
And this is exactly the problem.
Yeah, but the thing is, it unalives the baby. Well, when it comes to different kind of violation, you still think that the abortion should be illegal?
No, unless the woman was SA or the woman is about to die of childbirth, I think it should still be illegal.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I think you shouldn't have a choice because it's not your body that you're doing this to. So.
No, I blame the man, not only the woman. I blame the man for having sex with the woman, not only the woman. I blame the man also.
Yeah, but no, I hear you. But what you're doing is punishing the woman. You don't know. Hold on. You don't think it's right that the man's done X, Y, and Z, but the only person you're punishing is the woman. The man is not being punished for what he's done. The man is not being punished for getting somebody pregnant. You're punishing a woman because she got pregnant and she doesn't want to have a child. And furthermore, it's really nothing to do with what people do with their bodies, especially women. Focus on yourself.
That this is why the societies are falling off. People sleeping while they're I'm sorry, I don't know what to offend. I'm not trying to be offending anyone. I don't want to be like some offended. I support women's side and the equal rights to matter. I don't have problems with any woman. I don't have any problems. I think we're all equal in God's eyes. However, I believe sex outside marriage is not allowed. I don't think that's allowed. The man should also be punished for getting married. But I don't know about your culture. I don't study Western culture that much. I don't study that much, but I don't know that much that much.
Are you Muslim?
Yes.
Okay.
I focus my religion mostly on my history in Africa. And some parts in Central Asia, because some parts of my family are Kazakhs and Yemens. So therefore, I say the man should be punished by getting lashes. If he cheated with his wife, he should be put to death.
Okay. I don't really know what to say to that, but sure.
That's the thing. I don't know about Western culture, but the man should be also punished. And therefore, I believe marriage creates a strong bond between a man and a woman, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If it's your body, yes. No, you can. It's your body, your choice. You can marry whoever you want. You can have children whoever you want. That's your right. Yes, that is your right. That is your right.
Yeah, for example, in Europe, they talk about birth rate declining. Do you guys think that is due to feminist mindset?
No, I think that's to do with the economic situation in this country. Like people can't get married because having children is too expensive. I don't think it's like the family situation. Like if people had a basic house, a house, a stable job, a stable economy, etc., a life, and then I think women are more willing to have children. However, they can't. They don't want to suffer that much because they know they can't support their children in this time and age. Therefore, they don't have children. I'm not blaming the woman. I think the woman's right. Because how can you support a child if you don't have resources and the ability to do it? You don't need to suffer more. Therefore, I blame on the government and the elites for letting this situation happen. So it is not feminism, whatever. It is the government or the elites. It depends which country, but pretty much most of the Western countries, I would like to call them companies country because the companies are hoarding off resources and they're not being limited. Private companies. So it's not the woman's fault at all. They have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just an effect.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So if women can't, I say this, if you don't have resources, if you don't have money, if you're suffering much, do not have children because you're gonna suffer more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I guess what the sister Fairy, that other sister that came in early on, she was talking about women right not to do much work at home, but to be able to have a job in case a marriage don't work out, then she can be able to support herself because she got a job. I mean, which you.
I think that's the woman's choice. If she wishes to work, let her work. If she wishes to stay at home, let her stay at home. It's her choice. That matters. That's it. The man cannot do anything. The husband cannot do anything. It's her choice. So yes. Do you agree or disagree with them?
With feminism.
Do you disagree with what I've said?
You said many things. About what specifically?
Like women not having children because of the economic situation.
In part, yes.
In part, you agree or disagree? Sorry.
No, in parts, I agree. I think, yeah, the economical situation, especially of the West at the moment, is dire, and no one wants to bring a child into this mess. But I also think that people forget that, or people diminish the feelings of women. And I think that this is not just the economical situation. I think that this is also women just choosing for the first time in their lives to do something for themselves rather than for the growth of humanity.
Like, I'll repeat it again. I couldn't hear you, please. My Wi-Fi is so shit.
I said, I think people diminish the way that women feel, and they sort of think that this is all due to the economical situation and not down to women just making a choice for themselves for the first time in their lives, which is what a lot of women are doing. I know women who are very, very well off who just decided that they don't want children. And yeah, I think that's also one of the things that play a part in why.
Because why? I'm just curious. I'm not gonna say, oh, they must have children. No, I'm just give us their point of view. Like, I don't understand it.
But they just why? They just don't want to.
Okay, that's their choice. Let them be. Okay.
Yeah.
If they don't want to have children, we can't force them. That's their choice. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just invite more people to come in. Because there's a few questions.
It was good talking to you, Deb. I was respectful, talk, debate. I don't usually fight many times on TikTok.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I understand. That's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of negative.
Thank you for being interrupted and kicked out and being screamed at.
Yeah.
Right.
I do not understand. Like, I don't know. I say abortion is not legal, and it's mostly because I say abortion is illegal. I don't think baby should be unalived because the woman felt like it. Like they kept screaming at me and they just kicked me off.
Yeah.
I think it's important that you remember that you're talking about a completely different sexes, bodily choices, bodily autonomy. When you speak about abortion, I don't think that men have a place to talk about such things. This is a conversation between women and women only. So I'm not surprised that you keep getting kicked off panels.
No, they brought it off. Nothing. I didn't bring it up. It was in the panel.
Right.
Anyway, I just made my point of view.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's good talking to you. Lovely.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah. So people, come on in. Let's talk about social matter, feminism. What do you think about feminism, people? This is a social matter. We should talk about it, and then because there's some misconception about feminism. Someone said there's some misconception of feminism. Some people say that supporting gender equality don't mean that they're feminist, which can be true as well. Equity. Them spoke about equity. Yeah, equity was a good mention in them. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's important that we, like I said, differentiate the two because they're not the same at all.
Yeah, and regarding gender equality, obviously in many companies nowadays, women are more right. Women are earning more than men. Also, we cannot forget that nowadays women have got more degrees than men. But I don't know if that means that women are more qualified to do certain jobs so they can be able to get paid more. But yeah, in the sport industry, yeah, definitely. Zado said earlier on, in the football, basketball, tennis, definitely men get way more, more money than women. Only because many women's sport don't get much exposure. But when it comes to normal job, some people say that some women who can earn more than men.
Skill and education.
Yeah.
But talk about the science and engineering, those like elite jobs, you know what I mean? Like maybe like the normal jobs like construction, yes, I can agree there's also some discrimination going on. I've seen a lot of reports of women being discriminated and sexually harassed by construction workers like men, and that they're being underpaid sometimes. Whoever being underpaid, I don't think that's the company for not following regulations and rules. And I think the government or the state should have a crackdown on it.
Yeah, there should be regulation, and then
there should be a supervision and state of all private and public companies. People are just gonna get greedy and take a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, in the security business, though, women can suffer a lot from men because it's mostly men industry, being a security officer or working as a bouncer. But in terms of the payment, I think both get paid whatever they need to get paid in the workplace. But yeah, we can differentiate different parts of the job where most of the men will get paid more than women. There's no equality. There's some equality to an extent, but no equality that women are being asking for. But again, it depends on the company.
It's a true equality. like that's an equality. I mean, like the job pay. I think that's an overstatement. Like there's bound to be favors. I know about what's it called? About what's it called? This. I don't know what the word. Oh my goodness.
Position, job position, or we don't know.
No, the workforce. Like not position. I don't think it's, but it says like so. You know what I mean? Like if you go like elite jobs, I don't think the company. Well, mostly engineers and scientists directly come from government. And the small companies, like not a lot of foreign companies, or not foreign private companies, like focus on these like scientists, engineers, maybe some, but not a lot. But the government, I don't think they care because they know for them to be strong, they need scientists and engineers, and they know they can't differentiate between women and men. They can't show favors because they know it's a stupid idea to do that. Stupid idea, and they know it actually weakens the government, the military, the national strength. So they're not going to take on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, would you consider yourself a feminist?
Well, I don't consider anything else. I just I believe that women and men should complement each other and have equal rights, regardless where they come from or whatever their background is. They should have equal rights in everything.
Okay, so you're a feminist then? That's what feminism is.
No, I don't understand, like, it's like feminism. Like, feminism is like advocating for women's rights.
Yeah, and you've just advocated for women's rights, so you're a feminist also. Like, I don't know why people are so terrified of the word feminist. It's okay to identify with something.
I'm kind of confused because there's so many variations. Like, I've been to TikTok live. A lot of people have their own explanation, you know?
I feel like people are moving into a system of women's supremacy. Feminism was always about equity and equality. It started off as equality and it's moved into a sect of equity now. But everything you've just said aligns with feminism. So you are a feminist in a way.
I think I just followed the words of the Prophet in the one of the Quran.
Yeah, and he was also a feminist. So
I advocate for women rights.
Pochettino, brother, welcome back.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank yourself.
I'm good. Thank you.
So you say you don't believe in feminism? Why?
I don't really believe in feminism. It's not really my ideology. I'd say the same exact thing about misogyny and the Red Pill movement or any sort of. Not to say that the two are synonymous, but no, I don't really particularly align with feminism. I don't believe it's something I particularly believe in, and not to say that I don't believe in women's rights and feminism. No.
But hold on, are you also compared to a communist?
No, I'm a Muslim, bro.
Are you Muslim?
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Where are you from? Well, in Africa or Asia?
Are you from ethnicity or where?
I know you. I can hear your accent. You come from Britain. But ethnicity.
No, I'm Somali.
Oh, Somali ما تعرف شيء. لا وفي حتى شيء.
الحمد لله.
الحمد لله ما شاء الله. الحمد لله. كيف Somali أنا كمان تحكي؟ شو؟ وين لا؟ بدي شو؟
خوي صح.
خوي والله ما كان عندي غلط.
Feminism, hands off to them. Particularly, everybody has a different ideology. Me specifically, I don't believe the notion that women are equal. I think that is a fallacy in the sense where they're built for two different purposes. Even genetically, that's apparent. When it does come to that, I believe a woman has her role and a man has his role. The woman can't do what the man can do, and a man can't do what the woman can do. So I believe in equity, yes.
equality, no, because we're not equal to begin with. It's like comparing, a car and a lorry, right? Two sort of vehicles, two completely different purposes, and a lorry can't do the job of a car. You wouldn't use a lorry to get from A to B any more than you use a car to haul cargo, right? So that's just my take on it, but yeah.
No, yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, them. It's not them. I was going to mention that you already mentioned equality. Well, yeah, Pochettino mentioned it as well. Yeah, sorry, them. Go ahead.
I'm going to stay quiet. Sorry, I'm going to stay quiet because I'm not going to inform me. So I'm going to stay with it.
All right, thank you, Zadu, bro. Thank you, Zadu. Thank you.
So, if you believe in equity, do you only believe in one part of it? Because equity is also putting women at the same starting point as men, so they're able to be equal in opportunities. Do you not believe in that?
Not necessarily, no.
Right.
Reason being, say for example, I'm more pragmatic, I would say. I believe in being a realist to the degree, whereas when it comes to things like the army, I don't particularly believe women should be allowed to serve in the army, right? When it comes to things such as, construction, right? I don't particularly believe it. I'm not saying women can't work in the construction field, but those sorts of jobs, I don't believe women should be allowed to work those sorts of jobs purely the reason being that physically they just can't keep up, right? So you may have some women, right, who may be able to physically keep up, but the reality is, generally speaking, most of them will not. So that's just my opinion on that, yeah. But also, it's the same for me. I don't believe, for example, a man should be a midwife, right? In a sense where personally, like being in the room certain times of childbirth. But that stands for my religious views. I'm not saying they can't be doctors. I'm not saying women can't be ministers. I'm not saying women can't do this certain things. But equality and equity, in a sense, means everything has to be equal. I don't necessarily believe in that.
Right. Well, equity is not everything has to be equal. That would be equality. I understand where you're coming from on the equity standpoint, though. Men and women are not equal. However, we should be given the same opportunities. That's my standpoint. But I want to touch upon something you said. Why don't you think women should be in the army?
The reason being, just the sheer physicality of it. I don't personally believe. I'm not saying there's no women capable of joining the army, but generally speaking, the majority of them, there's a reason why women, right, historically, were not called to arms. The reason being that physically they're not able to keep up, and that's the reality of it. Not just join the army. For example, the physical test, right? If you look at the Royal Navy and the American Army and armies all over, right? The physical capability assessment is lowered for women, right?
No, it's not.
No, it really is, right?
No, it's not. I'm trying to go into the army. I can tell you periodically. No, it's not. It changed a couple of years ago. It's exactly the same as men. Exactly the same.
Okay, so you're telling me like the base boot camp is exactly the same for men and women?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Actually, I didn't know about it.
A couple of years.
I didn't know about it, to be honest.
Is this specifically in the UK or?
Yep, this is the UK.
Well,
that's why I asked the question.
But the reality is, for the majority of them, it's a good thing the UK done that. I do agree. If she can pass the test, I have no problem with her serving. However, the ideology, like where women, for example, their specification is lowered, that's where I have an issue with it. Because if you're gonna pass it like everybody else. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. If you're gonna pass it like everybody else, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't really mind if you describe it how it is. That's a good thing. If you can pass it, go ahead.
So your starting point for women to have opportunities the same as men is to be as strong as a man, which is genetically impossible. However, some women are anomalies and are able to do that. So you're saying only the women who are able to do that and keep up with a man. So
in a specific field.
I just want to pick I don't think physical strength like matters really the most in a war to like in the Middle Ages. Like they used famous several women generals, especially on the Islamic empires. Like
that's not true, bro.
Thank you, Cairo.
Do you know? You don't know how.
No, but actually, there's no such thing as a Muslim.
There was.
There's not.
What?
Oh, there wasn't.
There was. You cannot say Israel doesn't even say that.
But it's the truth. You can go research it. According to Sharia, a woman cannot serve as a head of an army, right?
No, she can't. No, she can't. They can't. They doesn't. They can't.
I'm not trying to go back and forth. It's okay, but after your research, it's impermissible.
Guys, the Quran says
Hello, Cairo.
the Quran does say women are more deficient than men. So I doubt they'll be head of an army in Sharia.
Are you Muslim, brother? Are you Muslim?
No. But
okay, please do not. Okay, if you want to talk about the Holy Book of Quran, please provide evidence for it.
I'm just saying to you, do your research. It's not. I don't want to diverge the topic, but what you're saying, there's no case in there.
Okay, show it to me then, because I read the Quran many times and I don't.
Okay, but before we get into that conversation, I don't want to diverge, right? I just want to answer the question.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of what's it called, movement to tend to like.
Okay, but we keep moving into religion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to move. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's keep the topic. Thank you. So the question you asked me, sister, right? When it came to physicality, no. In a sense, I'm saying specific job fields, right? I don't particularly. If a woman's gonna pass it, right? Pass it on the basis of merit. I'm not saying a woman has to be as strong as a man, right? However, there are those that are capable of it, and if you want to pursue the army, like you said, and you can meet the physical standard and like no basis on gender, right? I don't have a problem with that. When it comes to education, when it comes to politics, when it comes to the private sector, I have no issue. The person should be chosen based on their merit. It doesn't really matter what gender they are. She's capable of the job. Go ahead.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Cairo. So what do you think about feminism, Cairo? Good to see you. And thank you for the roses.
Let's look at it deeply. If you remember the last time I came, we had a chat together. We had a feminist in here, right?
Yeah. And she came in early on today, but she's not feminist. She don't classify herself as feminist.
So that's why, but you know, Elsie in your heart of hearts, she's a feminist. I think.
Well,
she can agree on this.
She came here earlier. She said people took it. Men took it.
But you know she's a feminist. But you know this, right?
Yeah.
So what's the end result of having a feminist is that I think men aren't attracted to that. It's for her. I think that's going to increase divorce. I think if women were all like her, you'd increase divorce, right? That's impossible. I mean, she's lost what makes her. Actually, it's funny, feminism has made them lose what makes them feminine. So feminine is what makes her. Women have humility. It's not a weakness; it's a humility in them that's attractive. Men are bold, women are humble, and that humbleness is attractive for a man. When she's able to insult you and put you in your place, and men were natural leaders in the family, right? Us, my Muslim brothers here, we're all lead. Men are raised to lead. It's us, it's in our DNA to lead. And if she's two people can't drive a bloody car at the same time, right? She can tell me where she wants to go, I'll drive. But she's the kind of person she's not preparing herself to be a wife. And I think this is dangerous in society. She's preparing herself to be a CEO, a manager, your boss, anything but a wife. And the most important thing a woman has, the most important person in your life is your mother. The most important person in your world is your own mother, And so she's neglecting that. She's putting that in the garbage and throwing it for something that's pointless. It's really pointless. I mean, there's nothing more important to a woman than her kids. Nothing's going to be more important to her than her kids. And I think having a stable family, having a happy family, having a husband who respects you. That's important. And what I found with feminism as well is that there is a conflation between aggressive and assertive. She seems to conflate aggression with assertiveness. So assertiveness is a good thing. That's a good thing to be assertive, but she conflates it with aggressive. So she comes across as aggressive, right? So you're scared. Men don't like to be scared in their own homes. Like, what the fuck? I ain't gonna be scared by someone in my own home, right? Can you see how divorce is gonna be? It happens so easily. She's someone that she needs to be healed from something. She needs to be healed from something. And so in this day and age, if someone's a feminist, there's a problem because the laws themselves, Elsie, the laws themselves allow for equality. So if I'm going to become someone that feels I'm treated without any equality, you have to ask yourself, well, what's happening in her life? Like, why? The law is there to protect you. Why are you overcompensating to become what we would term a bitch? Sorry, I hate that word, but you know, a bitch, like someone that sorry?
That's absolutely crazy. You calling women bitches because they don't subscribe to your ideology.
No, I'm not calling them bitches. I'm not saying that. My English, I'm not English. I'm not English. You have to forgive me. Sorry, damn.
It's like English.
I'm just curious, you're Muslim. You call us brothers. Are you Muslim?
It's from Zado. It's from Middle East. He's not Muslim, but he's from Middle East. Yeah.
Pochettino. I'm from France. I just born in Middle East. I'm from France. I'm Christian.
All right.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use that word. But I'm saying that the nature of something, saying a woman who is, what's the term? Give me the adjective. Educate me. What's the adjective I need for someone who is bitchy? This term of being bitchy, who doesn't give a damn about your feelings. What's this term?
Hedonistic.
Okay, I don't know this term before. Thank you. I never read this term. I can use it now. Thank you very much for correcting me. I'm sorry for that.
I don't believe that someone being hedonistic makes them inherently bitchy or makes them inherently wrong. I think that women want to live for themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. Your ideology is your ideology. Go and find yourself a wife who subscribes to your ideology. You don't need to sit here and talk about the way other women want to live.
You don't tell me what I need to do either. Hold on, look there. You don't tell me what I need to do either.
No,
he always asks my question about feminism.
I'm giving you a perspective.
But that's not what I need to do. That's not what I need to do, though.
I'm not. I'm giving you a perspective. It was a figure of speech. I think you need to calm down.
No, but Robert, I think what you're describing, right, are radical feminists. I don't particularly believe you have an issue with feminists. So my issue when it looks at feminism, right, it's sort of a one-sided solution for a two-sided problem. It overlooks a lot of things, whereas in the sense of a lot of these gender inequalities also affect men. If you look at, for example, the higher suicide rate, the higher mortality, the fact that they're more likely to be unalive due to dangerous jobs, the fact that a lot of the benefits that they do get, men don't typically get, in a sense where paid paternity leave, significant disparity between maternity and paternity leave. Also, when it comes to the sense of feminism, in a sense, advocates for the victimhood of women, right, without necessarily, and sort of, I'm not going to say demonifying men, but it sort of overlooks the issue where a lot of the issues that are posed by feminists, right, also directly affect men. However, it's seen as the patriarchy, and because you're men, you're somehow upholding that patriarchy, in the sense where you do look at it, and it does make you sort of go like, what is the end goal? Because they either sort of go two ways, when it comes to feminism, and I look at the suffragettes, and I look at the right to vote, the right to work, all beautiful things I can get behind, right, women's rights, and then you look at the other end of things, and you think, is this borderline men hate? Are men shamed for being men? The pressures of a man having to adhere to societal masculine stereotypes, so on and so forth. And a lot of these things, when I sort of look at it, I sort of think this ideology doesn't really bring about a well-rounded individual any more than basic, I would say, very watered down red pill version.
They're waiting for you to pull up.
1 second, can I just say one thing? Sorry, I don't know who's supposed to be, but I just want to add one thing here. I'm being honest. Pure honesty here. She did say something that was good, which is the divorce rate. I mean, in the past, it's true. In the past, women who didn't have work, it was the man who was the breadwinner, and she stayed at home. So she didn't have a choice but to stay in a relationship that could be abusive, could have been abusive. So for me, I like the assertiveness. I like the fact that women right now, they're independent, and the law, thank God, today gives them half of everything the man has, which is a good thing. That's the correct thing to do. See, that's where I disagree with her now, because she said, for those that didn't attend, she was her rationale, very feminist lady. Her rationale was, yeah, you know what, women in the past they had to stay in abusive marriages because they had no jobs and they had to depend on the husband. But see, now that she can't argue that, because today that's not the case. Today you can be a housewife, and if he leaves you, if he is abusive and you divorce, even you can say, I want to leave you, and you'll get 50% of everything in the West. Here in the West.
Yeah, she just come back. Sister Ferry, you're talking about. She just come back. I'm gonna invite her, Kyra. You know the young.
Kyra, I'm still waiting for the rest you said. The outrageous statement you said about the Holy Book of Quran.
You know what? Right now.
Let's go to that.
Zado.
Can I just ask a question to them quickly before we move on?
I'm just waiting for Kyra.
It's not a religious debate. We're going to stay on topic. The question I wanted to ask.
About the hadith when he says.
We're not talking about.
Zado.
I don't understand everyone's chat.
Yeah.
Zado.
The question I had for them, right? I wanted to get your sort of perspective on it. What would you say? Because what I've sort of noticed, right, and I recognize not all feminists. However, they want equal. Not you, sister. I wanted to ask them, right? So when it comes to feminism, what's your sort of take on the women that preach equality but don't really want the responsibility that comes with it, in a sense where they sort of want to hold on to the traditional roles, in a sense of the traditional values of being a man and woman gender roles. However, they don't really, but they also want equality in that sense. So it's give and take. So what would your sort of take on that, actually, to your opinion?
You can have a semi-traditional relationship. That's completely fine. I don't see a problem with that. You need to elaborate more.
Exactly, yeah. Can you give an example? I can't treat his question.
For example,
then his answer.
Okay, for example, in society, right, women want equal pay in certain fields, right, directly in line with their male counterparts. However, there's not really, in a sense where it's not really viable, whereas they have to take maternity leave at some point, right, and get paid.
No, they don't.
No, they do. So when it comes to they don't have to take maternity leave, right? In the sense when they take maternity leave, right, a man's not going to take that. So would you guys be okay with a man taking the exact same amount of paternity leave as a woman takes maternity leave, or not?
If you want it, yes. Paternity leave should be longer. I do agree with that, yes.
May I speak on that?
They basically post Islamophobic videos.
Zado. Don't take it personal with him, because.
No, but this guy's clearly lying about my religion. I don't like when people do that.
Okay, but this is not a religious debate, so let's move on.
In Islam, it does say that the woman's intelligence is less than that of a man.
We're doing this again. The host is really
where's that coming from, please? No one's saying that. We don't need to bring that in. We're talking about
Joyce, would you like to talk?
me personally. I would love to, but I don't want to speak over people.
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to. You're allowed. Go ahead and speak, please. I'd love to hear you.
This idea about maternity leave. Paternity leave is something that's
Zara, please.
new. If you wanted to have the full level that women have, that's something you have to speak on yourself as a group of men. It's not something that we can do for you because it's something that as a man you want to take. So if there is something that you want to take, then go ahead, make a petition to the government, and then everybody will rally around you. Now, my husband, when I was pregnant with my child, my husband took a year off. And I took a year off because we were able to do that. And I have to say that year that he took off set him to be the best father that he could possibly be, because my son now understands how my husband works and now how I work as a mom. And it really allowed him to develop his own way of dealing with our son, to the point where it doesn't really matter which parent he encounters first, because we've both gone through the same process at the same time and we both have our own way, the outcome would always be relatively okay. And it also extends into the school environment. When we have issues in the school or when we go to the school, both know it doesn't really matter which parent it gets, because they know for a fact that I'm going to pass on that information to him and he'll know what to do, and vice versa. So it is a good idea that men do take the full year of paternity, but it's something you have to campaign for. Now, I think there was a survey a few years ago saying that many men didn't necessarily want to do that. So it's not like it's a case of women have denied men the opportunity to take full paternity right. No, if you want to have it, we will support you, because best believe having two people when the baby is an infant, I can't tell you how much help it is when you've just had a baby, you can barely keep your eyes open, and knowing that my husband was there to hold him, to rock him while I got 2 hours sleep was so beneficial. And my husband is a night owl, so which basically meant that I could get a decent night's kip, because my husband has always been a night person, so he could take over the baby at the night time, he'd go and sleep, and then I'd take over during the daytime. So it is a good idea, but it is something that as men you have to campaign for. And I think the reason why maybe it hasn't moved is maybe collectively, maybe many men don't want to do that role. But that's something as men you need to investigate and you need to work on. But it's not, you don't have, women did not deny you your paternity rights. That's not what happened.
You're right.
The issue in this conversation is people don't know the difference between equality and sameness. Like when women are taking maternity leave, it's because, we're going through a physical change. A lot of women have to heal after having a child. Like, I don't know why, like, this is common sense, people. Like, as a man, you're not doing any of that. You know what I mean?
This is true. Depending on what kind of pregnancy you have, if you have a C-section, then yes, you are going to need time to repair. But the men, they do say that when a man has a baby, there are like hormonal changes that happen.
Give it a rest.
No, they do say that. No, they do say that.
But
That's a violence.
What hormonal changes do they go through, please?
No, there's a survey. I think that there's
Munching is one of the reasons.
Hormonal changes that it's not a big thing, but it stops the man from wanting to kill the baby, in essence. It allows them to bond with their baby. There are hormonal changes that happen. I'm not saying that the hormonal changes that the man goes through is equal to what a woman's going through. That's not what I said. I just said that they went through hormonal changes. But the idea of this paternity thing is something that if you want it, go out there and get it, because it is helpful. But I don't. The idea that women get this and men don't. No. That's not the case. That's something you need to campaign for. go ahead and campaign for it.
I just add to that. Also, it's very, some men are very fearful for career impact and the stigma, and also financially, because if it's not fully paid and you've got a newborn baby and mummy's out of it right yourself because she's just given birth and she's bonding with baby, she needs time to recover, so that's another income out, then that pressure's going to fall on the dad. So it's not the case that men don't want it. There's lots of other factors into this. So societal, cultural norms, lack of supportive policies and culture, lack of information. There's a lot of barriers here.
But like I said before, there's something that they have to work on as a male group to go and do that. If it's something that they want, it's not something that we can do for you. We can support you, but if you want to do this, something you have to take the lead on and work for. You know what I mean?
So
But I do advise, and I'm a big, because I've seen it firsthand and I've lived through it, having both parents, even if the husband goes part-time, I cannot do the benefits that the man will get in terms of how getting to know their child and watching them grow and the partnership that they bring together. I cannot stress how good it is. I cannot, because I've seen it firsthand. I can't even explain it to you. For example, if I decide I want to go away for days, I don't have to worry. I know that he can take care of himself and the kids. I don't have to do anything. I might have to come back and clean, but I don't have to worry, because he's already developed his own way of handling the child, and he will develop that year on year as the baby grows.
So would you guys say then, in that sense,
it's very important.
So would you guys say there's a sort of hindrance in the sense where business owners, managers, CEOs, whatever you want to call it, would be borderline incentivized not to promote women to positions, like higher positions within the company or within the establishment, however so you want to play it, based on a fact where there's a ceiling cap there. In that essence, would you say if you was a manager, right, looking at it objectively, I'd rather promote the man over the woman?
No, that's unfair, because you're making the assumption that every single woman's going to have a baby. You cannot do that.
No, it's true.
That's unfair. You have to deal with the person at hand.
Joyce, can I just say, this is quite fun actually, guys. So yes, fathers can experience hormonal changes. This is from the National Birth Line website. Experience a drop in testosterone and potential increase in other hormones like oxytocin. These shifts are thought to prepare the expected father for parenthood and potentially reducing aggression and increasing their sensitivity to bond better with not just mom but baby.
Yeah, indeed.
That's the thing. That doesn't mean that they need to take 26 weeks
off. Joyce had a point. It's quite an interesting one.
No, I'm not saying that they have.
When Joyce was mentioning the fact that she took a year off with her partner, I think that's like a beautiful thing, and it definitely works for some people. But that's the thing. If you have that goal for yourself, then there's certain things you're going to have to do to get there. Because even women, right? We only get 26 weeks off. We don't get a full year off. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But the gentleman said that, I'm just responding to the gentleman's question, because I felt that the question was that paternity, it was women get paternity leave at the expense of men, which is not the case. And I was just saying that if you want paternity leave, go ahead and campaign for it.
They said they don't want it. They set these systems up. They're the ones that set these things up.
Like I said before, I completely agree with that. But if it's something that they want, you have to go get it. That's all I'm saying.
If they wanted it, they would have it. They don't want it.
That might be true too.
That might be true. But what I would say, question you said earlier, you said it's not fair in the sense of why I wouldn't really promote them, right? However, the other argument I put forth, and it's not me personally speaking, it's just argument's sake, right? What guarantee do I have she doesn't know? Wouldn't the safer option be to promote the man?
It is unfair because you're discriminating against the future that the person might not have. You have to do. There's no. It's not true. It is what it is.
No, I said that. No, I said it's true.
Yeah.
However, the reality.
There's no however. There's no however.
But there is a however.
No, there isn't. You have to deal with the person.
No, the reason I said however, right? We know it's anti-discrimination laws. However, going about proving it is different. For example, you as a black individual, right, may go seek a job, right? Might be more qualified than the other person who happens to be white. Not that there's anything. They might give the job to the white person. You've been discriminated against. How do you go about proving that, right? So it's a similar thing again. I recognize it's not fair. However, there's no guarantee that, and it does happen in reality, in real life it doesn't really apply, right? Women are passed over on the basis that people perceive she may take maternity, even though she's single, even though she may not want children, right? There's no guarantee that she might not change her mind later. So, safe option is always to promote a man, and even if she was discriminated against, how does she go about proving that?
You know, that's it.
I can hear what you're saying, but that is not the circumstances you presented. That's the clause that you presented afterwards. You just said that you would prefer to promote a man because a woman could, in the distant future, have a baby. All I'm saying is that you cannot predict on what, you can't judge a person based on what they could do. You have to deal with what the skill set and who they are now. And I think it's unfair for you to put on this idea that a woman is going to have a baby because she's a woman, when that may not be the case. That's all I'm saying.
I think even if it's not the case, right, and I completely agree with you, to be honest, right? But just for argument's sake, even though it's not fair, what guarantee do I have if they're both just as qualified, right? Why would I not just promote the man and nip that in the butt in a sense, for argument's sake?
Because that's discrimination.
Can I bring Tyra?
Well, let me see the whole point here. We have to accept. Sorry, can I say this? Thank you, Pam. We just have to accept that women will sacrifice so much. They sacrifice so much. There's never equality because they give so much. They give up their careers for a family. There's no price for that. But however, they should be paid bloody the same amount as a man. That I think we can all agree on. Hopefully, fingers crossed between us. But ultimately, that's it. If she starts a family, she's sacrificed a lot, and what she gets in return, she's a mother. And hopefully, someone. Don't know if all of us have fathers and mothers, but you know very well how much your mother means to you, and the influence of your mother. That's huge. That's huge. That's way more important than a position of CEO. You're CEO of someone's life.
No, it's not. And I think this is where men get it wrong. Everyone's an individual, right? So I am married, and in the future I would like to have children. I'm also a housewife. That doesn't mean that the woman who lives next door should also adhere to that ideology. That means that she is in. Sorry?
Can you say that last sentence again? Sorry.
I said that doesn't mean that she should subscribe to that same ideology.
Which ideology?
Being a housewife and being a mother.
Yeah, no.
It's want to do that.
Once you sacrifice, what I'm saying, damn it, once you sacrifice. Sorry, please continue afterwards. Once you sacrifice your career for a family, there's no compensation. I mean, yes, you've given up your career. Every woman has. I don't know any woman when she's become a mother has maintained a career. I mean, very rare.
It's not very rare. Where do you live, Cairo? Can I ask
that's not true. Because if women weren't able to maintain their career, every single economy in the West would be in the toilet.
Exactly.
You do realize that economically, from an economic perspective, every Western country relies on both the man and the woman working consistently over the course of their lifetime. You get that right. The economies could not stand with only one income. Everybody needs to understand this. This is plain economics. The days when those days are long and truly over, and it's something that, no disrespect, males who run the economy, the male economists, the male Bank of England, the male, all of these people all championed. So Yeah, we need to get that straight because it's a very deluded idea that people have. Oh, if women go back to work, everything will be okay. The economy will crash because you've got a loss of income, which relates to GDP, which relates to taxes. Yeah, come on now. Let's throw that one in there. Let's throw that one in the toilet.
I want to make a point. Sorry, madam, but I want to make a point. It's not related to any of it.
No. Look, dude. Pyro, talk about religion here.
Yeah, Zado.
You mentioned
Zado.
Woman was related.
Zado. Sorry, them.
This is actually to start.
Yeah.
I did say he came up and talked about it.
Yeah, Zado. I can bring another panel another day. We can talk about religion, okay? We done in the past. I'll bring another panel, okay?
No point. Just
at least, you say things about the Bible, you should study your own Bible.
Zado.
The man can pay.
Zado, yeah.
Sorry, I dropped it.
Thank you.
Ridiculous now.
Because once it goes into religion, it goes down like a shit. Excuse me.
I think.
Would you mind? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Well, the comment was related to women, by the way. But fair enough. I just wanted to say to Emily, I of course, I'm deeply sorry, ladies, if I offended you. I didn't mean to become a person offending. Family felt that maybe you all did too. I didn't mean that. At all. But I just want to learn. For you, condescending is that the opinion that I said, where you said it's condescending, just to recap, is that the mother's position is worth more than the career. Is that right? Was that condescending? Which part was? Because I have nothing but respect for women. I mean, I don't know why it's condescending, but I'd like to know to learn.
You said tu parles français?
Oui, je suis effectivement francophone. But you can say it in English, I think.
I'll find the word. I don't know what the word is in French, but I'll find it.
But you say in English, is my English that bad?
No.
I don't think you're going to understand because you said that. Remember when you said the B word?
Yeah, yes, that's true. Yes, but your English is English. I'm not. So, but I have to improve my English.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to find a way to explain what she found condescending in French because I don't know how to say it. And my husband.
But you found it condescending too, right?
Somewhat.
Right. Just explain why. I want to learn.
I think your view as a whole is. To be fair, I don't know if I would use the word condescending. I think it's. I think your view is your view, and I think in the 21st century that view is very outdated. I'll put it that way.
Which view that you have to sacrifice your career?
Yeah.
That you have to sacrifice to be a mother. So that's from experience. That's from people I know who are widespread for French. Of course, I'm French. Yes, that's true. So these women happen to be French. Some are Catholic, some are atheists, some are Orthodox. But that's just from experience. I know, and they want to go back into work. They do. Thank God the husband is working. But they're mothers. What can I say? It's not. By all means, have a career. By all means, have. It's not for me, even for me to say. And I hope you're paid equally as a man, for sure. But when you do have kids, I think this is going to be a very difficult thing to juggle, a career and a family. Is that wrong? Is that condescending?
How are you juggling it, sir? How do you juggle it as a man, having a career and a family?
You guys are gonna hate me for this if I tell you.
Okay. It's very antiquated. There's a fine line being old-fashioned and then trying to use that as a blanket statement to go, it's just one of those things, ladies, shut up.
I'll tell you.
That's never acceptable.
I'll tell you.
And I hope, Kara, that's not what you're trying to convey.
Please don't
So I'd like to clarify these things. It's not an accusation, it's about clarity.
I love your accent, by the way.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, it's really. Okay, so I think my story is the same as everyone else's, basically. Fairy tale, which is the wife, when we have kids, she does sacrifice her career. like she does, and then when she goes back to work, then she'll get something maybe not related to the career, but something simple where she can still take care of the kids a bit more. I know you're thinking, why don't you do it? Why don't you sacrifice your career and let her enjoy her? I know where that's going.
You'll be a better father for it. Well, you'll be a better father for it.
I'm sorry.
No, you'll be a better father for it.
Sorry?
I think you just need a better father for it.
Is that what she wants? Is that what the right
I will say this. That's my case. That's true. In the case of the majority, however, there is many people I know. Can you say this last part, please, my friend? There is many cases I know where it's the opposite, where the husband is taking care of the kids and the wife is doing her career. So, but yeah, whatever. It could have been the other way around. Absolutely. You know what? It could have been the other way around. It just turned out this way.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Do you agree with it being the other way around? Do you think it's perfectly okay?
Yes.
Okay, so then you're a feminist, sir. That's exactly what feminism is.
And the reason why I agree is because my friends have done it and I would have done it. Yeah, I would have done it easily. Sure, yeah. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Thank you, Dan, for that. Fair enough. Okay, thank you.
I think where maybe some of us might be offended is the reduction of the capacity of what women can do. That's where us women got unstuck with you. You need to remember, as a woman, there is much more that we can do because we are human than just raising children.
I didn't say that.
No, I never said that. But it can be interpreted as the way you did the comment can feel very reductionist in terms of reduction in the full capacity of what a woman can do and what a woman is. And that's how I felt when you said that comment. And you may not have intended it, because we do know that English is something you're learning. But that's
I've learned
how okay, all right, fair enough. Don't worry. It's a work in progress. How about that?
Could it just be he fell too heavily into those stereotypes that we are more than just labels, more than just traditional stereotypes?
It's possible. You need to ask him.
I think it's all handled right well, not just like to add to the mix.
No,
Can you just paraphrase me on my statement?
Who are you addressing?
Anyone. What statement did I say that reduced you just to a job? I don't think that. You're not very well. I don't think that.
No, we didn't. You just said that a woman can work, but we all know that the woman's gonna look up to the child, and that is the a beautiful role for the kid to have a parent to look up to. That's fine, but the women are much more than that.
You are. And this, I think, what led to the dispute between myself and the very elegant fairy lady. This led to some conflict between us because this discussion happened.
There's no conflict.
Well, then, okay, but then the next question was...
Another day when we have this conversation, Nico.
I think it's safe to say don't sweat Cairo. Don't try and play too much into the old traditional stereotypes and labels of women. Women are more than just a body part. I would not want to unfairly stereotype a man like that. With that.
Because I didn't mean to offend anyone, but
no, it's just clarification. Let's let it go. It's all good. Okay.
So this led. So obviously, you all heard what was said in the last.
Moderators, thank you. Take care now.
Yeah, take care. My case.
So you all heard what.
Go on.
So you all heard what was said in the last 2 minutes, which led. We said this before, and that led to my comment but guys, the divorce rate's gone up. The divorce rate's gone. This is what I'm thinking, right? Is that okay? So now there's this equality between us. So we all want it. I want it. You want it. But I just mentioned that divorce has gone up, and then this led to a heated discussion between myself and a very, very fiery fairy.
No,
so,
110%. But when it comes to the reality of it all, and having kids, should be the main, not provider in the sense of caretaker, and more often than not, that's what is a house husband? That is a bit outrageous.
Can you agree?
That's not my view.
Oh wow! Tina, can you agree that your views are culturally led?
No, 100%.
Me, I'm okay with the house husband. I'm okay with it.
One at a time.
Not well, the father.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Father has to do everything around the house if the mother is not well.
No, but that's different. I never said the father does not have to look after his children.
That's still a husband that's doing housework.
No, but that's different. It's not. It's not the same thing because look.
Okay.
When it. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
So you agree that your views are culturally led, right?
No, not culturally led, culturally biased to some degree, yes.
Well, hold on. One second. Patino is a very well-spoken young man. I would have loved to be a house husband. I would have loved that. Okay. Obviously, it's just who's the situation was who's gonna be better at this and who's gonna be better at that, and it just turned out to be me and doing this and her doing that. That's it. But if it was me doing the house husband, of course, I'd spend more time with my kids. I would be great at cooking, learning really good cooking skills. I love cleaning. Yeah, I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I really would have enjoyed that. Yeah, just turned out to be the other way around.
This is the thing I don't get, right? And it's not personally. I'm not talking about you personally, by the way. Don't take it like that. But the notion of a man staying at home to be a primary caretaker is delusional too.
There's
different.
the reason
there's
a difference.
One second.
Hold on, guys.
But let me just finish, right? She said why. I'll explain that. If he's working from home, that's a different conversation. We're not having that. We're just saying that, for example, the woman is a primary provider. You as a man are staying at home with the children. That of itself is outrageous, right? Number one being, that's not your job. Your job is to provide. As a man, you're the head of the household, right?
See, that's you said. Hold on, I disagree. Wait.
One second, brother. So everybody speaks from their own perspective. Yes, there is a cultural bias element of it. However, when you look at the majority of the world and history, this is how things have always been. A man is created stronger purely on the basis that he's meant to go out and work. I'm not saying that a man cannot be doing domestic household when he comes home from work. I'm not saying a man can't wash dishes. I'm not saying he can't look after his children, take care of them, and do everything of the sort. No, but being a primary caretaker, when you selectively take the choice, right, to sit out from work and let your wife provide for you, that is bewildering to me. The reason being, when it comes to women, right, she gets maternity for a reason, right? Her body's changing. She has to heal, right? So for example, you as a man, for example, no, this is what I'm saying. For example, you as a man can't breastfeed a child, right? There's reasons for this naturally.
So someone campaigning for
when it comes to this, you as a husband, that is not a man, that is a woman.
Just campaigning for men.
It's not, because a man is a man and a woman is a woman. But so to answer my question, yes, your views are culturally led, which is all I asked.
Yeah,
you said they're culturally biased.
Did you say me or him?
No, I'm talking about Platacino, because my question was, are your views culturally led? So people who don't follow the same culture as you don't subscribe to the same.
I don't think it's cultural. It's giving red pill, to be honest.
That is a culture. But this is what I'm saying. That's true. That is a culture within itself. The patriarchy.
You can say that.
The patriarchy is a culture within itself created by men, and he's subscribing to that ideology, which I don't mean like ethnicity culture. I mean like societal culture. That's what he subscribes to. I'm not bringing race into this at all, if that's what you meant.
When did I mention race?
But
I'm just giving an example.
More, because it could be religious.
Interesting.
Well,
I just have a question to ask the gentleman who said that a woman, her man should have this. How is that working out for you? Because I do remember you discussing male suicide and male mental health. So in the patriarchal system that you all exist in, as it is, you're also struggling. So why do you want to keep up with this idea of a man has to go to work and a woman has to stay at home when many men are struggling with that in and of itself? I don't understand.
Is that directed at me? Yeah, the reason being, when we look at suicide rates, I don't want to say the S rate, sorry.
Yeah.
And the reasons being, right, a lot of the men feel depression. And what does this depression come from? It comes from societal pressure, having to uphold with their peers, majority of the time feeling they're not good enough financially, so they themselves are not really cares about them, right? In that sense, the care aspect of it, I can understand that's a different one, right? But however, when you typically look at a man and he's idle, right? In a sense where, say, for example, he has no ambition. He doesn't work on himself. He doesn't physically upkeep himself. He's not educated. He doesn't work, right? That man's going to fall into depression more likely than not, right? That man was created on the basis that he's supposed to work, right? Whether that's for himself, whether that's for his family, whether that's for people that depend on him, right? At the end of the day, he was not meant to be idle. In a sense, if you look at society, one second, but right, I'll ask a question. So when you look at society, right, the reality of the situation is a woman can get by with being complacent, a man cannot, right? And what?
No, hold on, can I just answer this?
No, because what I mean by this, right, there's always that, like, as a man, and this is reality, I have to preach a lot, but not preach woman hate, by the way, not Red Bull, but a woman can get by in a sense where she can really achieve nothing in life, right? And get by and marry someone and become a housewife, right?
Hold on,
one second, please. A man doesn't have that option. If he doesn't make something of himself, he's never going to be nothing.
That's how important it needs to really say.
Pardon?
Can I ask you?
It's wrong,
But that's so offensive because, for one, it means that the housework that my wife was doing wasn't really work. Yeah, bloody hard work. It's bloody hard work. And if I'm doing it, it's bloody hard work too. Doesn't matter, we're one team. Finished. And then, so that's the hard work. So when you said, oh, but men have to work, it's in our DNA. Yeah, it's called housework. Do it. Let her work.
That's the difference. You're talking in a sense of, I never said housework was easy. I didn't say it wasn't a meaningful job.
No, but that's
not well respected. The issue was, personally speaking, right? A woman, let's just take for example a woman and a man, right? She doesn't get educated. She doesn't want to work. She doesn't want to do something with her life, right? She has an opportunity to be a housewife, right? That's like, how should I say, a certain level of safety net, right? A man, what's the alternative to a man? He's never going to make nothing of himself, right? No woman is going to take a man.
That's wrong. That's wrong. You have a complex and you take it out on your wife.
No, not complex. You don't take it out on your wife. I feel like you misunderstand it, brother.
You just said 5 minutes ago that a man who is a house husband is not a man.
That's true, though.
You've just contradicted yourself because you've just said that men are not able to do that. So
no, but this is the thing. I'll explain how it makes sense, right? The argument where I was first cut off, right, was in life personally. I'm not saying a man should do that, but I'm saying there's a certain level of safety. Whereas a man, if him being idle is directly going to lead him to depression. That's not work.
Housework is not idle.
Nobody, you're conflating the two. Nobody said housework is idle. However, it was in the understanding of the person, right? So if I'm a woman and you're a man, and you don't consent to do nothing in life, worst case scenario, I can get married.
Lazy. We're both lazy. We're both on the door.
Yes. You can get married.
Yeah, but we're talking about that.
A man's not going to do that.
If a guy can actually fulfill his job, retire, and have kids, and want to be the house husband, what's wrong with that?
No, not just that. Not that impression.
Not being in a nurtured home, so he wants to give that to his children. That doesn't make him any less than any other man. What kind of mindset are we doing here?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very dangerous what you're saying.
People like you are the reason why men actually do those silly things and feel like they feel less than, because it's the kind of mindset like that is crazy talk. If a guy wants to stay at home and in a different way, being nurturing and doing the whole work for their children, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That makes them better because they actually want to spend time with their children. Because money, working is not everything. That's not everyone's life purpose.
Yeah, can I say
going to work for minimum wage to be taught to like a piece of crap. That's not fulfilling at all. It's backwards, if anything. But rather stay at home and live with my family.
It's backwards.
Memories. That's all backwards. That's crazy.
But he said something. I need to correct it as well. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on. He said that but a man, he doesn't work. It's not good for his psychology. But hold on, a woman that does housework, she doesn't meet people. She go loopy. So she's given up her career. Hold on, mate. She's given up her career, right? She sacrificed that already. She's doing housework, taking care of the husband and the kids and the house, all right? Doesn't speak to anyone. She'll go crazy. She also needs to work. I can see why she would need to work as well. You have to be sympathetic to that. She also, like you, like a man, you need to work. She also has a mouth, has a brain. She needs to speak to people and just, talk and deal with people. It's good for her. It's good for anyone.
100%.
For anyone.
The difference is, this is what I'm saying, I don't think you're grasping the argument. You're conflating two things that make that in of itself do not coincide, right? When it comes to a man, right, that doesn't necessarily correlate to a woman. What I mean by that, right? A man being a housewife, right, or a house husband, whatever you call it, that in of itself is delusion, right? Whereas a woman, no, but 1 second, when you're coming to, right, nobody's saying, oh, she has to be locked in the house. When you come home, you're taking off your shoes, you're telling her, make me dinner, wash the dishes, do this, feed the baby. No, that's extreme, right?
Why is a house husband delusional? Why do you perceive it as that? Why, from your opinion, from your view? Because this is your opinion, this is what you. So why, from your opinion, do you think being a house husband is being delusional?
And can you also talk
specifically like where?
You said this is your opinion and this is your perspective. It's not going to happen. And generally, the whole way you're speaking, everybody tends to speak from their perspective. So, please do explain why being a house husband is a form of delusion.
The reason being, right, personally, in my subjective experience, right, I'm a religious person, not to divert the conversation that way, but I do take my morals and my beliefs from my religion, and my religion in of itself, right, tells me, 1 second, brother, could you please stop interjecting? You can ask me after, thank you. When it comes to the religion, right, personally, it tells you a man is ordained to work. Right, it doesn't say a woman can't work, right? Before Kirkwood starts jumping the gun, but that's your purpose. You're meant to provide, be a provider, provide safety, right? Be the head of your household, not abuse, right? No, I don't want to conflate that and say, oh no, power trip, no, that's extreme. But that can be benevolent in that sense. So that's particularly where I draw my views from. However, I recognize not everybody subscribes to that.
Yet you don't value women. You don't value women who are participating in those traditional beliefs.
No, I didn't say I don't value.
Well, you don't, clearly, because you're saying that, you can't follow a man being a house husband and it's lazy and all of these things that you just said. So you clearly don't value that, her role in a traditional relationship.
That's not necessarily true because I agree with that in of itself, right? When you conflate the two, because I said I'm a house husband, right?
Well, you literally said that she can achieve nothing.
No, I didn't say that.
You said that. You did say that.
No, I didn't. That's what I'm saying.
It's the evaluation of housework.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Comprehension.
It's not about comprehension. You said that verbatim. You said a woman can achieve nothing in her life, not get a degree, not go to work. You literally said that.
Yeah, I said she can, and she still has an opportunity, right, to become a housewife, right? So that in of itself, and no one said a housewife is a demeaning role, is a bad role. I didn't make any claims of such. I said two individuals, a man and a woman, right? A man does not have a safety net. A woman, at the end of the day, always has the opportunity to get married. and become a housewife and be provided.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I ask one thing as well?
No.
Just 1 second, let Bree speak.
Sorry, I was going to say, you said that the man's purpose is to work. Okay. Is that what you said? Particular?
Yeah.
Is being a housewife or husband not a job?
Yeah, it's a job, yeah.
Then what is so wrong if a man decides to be a house husband?
But that's the thing, that's not a man's job.
Wait, we have house husbands.
No, but yeah, and I recognize that, and that's, if they want to live like that, there's nothing wrong with it, right?
My dad was a house husband.
But there's nothing wrong with that, brother. So as I said to you...
How is there nothing... I feel like you clearly said that there was something wrong.
No, but that's my personal opinion.
You said it many times that it was clearly wrong.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
Can we all agree that we need to start judging situations on an individual basis instead of trying to spread our individual ideologies and make everyone else like forced to believe that and follow that? Because this is what the problem is. The prompt is talking about feminism and why you're you came in here talking about why you're opposed to feminism. So do you agree that your individualistic ideology should not be pushed to the rest of the world?
Not necessarily, no.
Because
it's not my individualism.
It's interesting, but it is.
No, not really, because I grew up, 1 second, so I was saying, necessarily, like I said, I draw my conclusions, my beliefs from my religion. So, in of itself, I would not advocate that, right, at the end of the day. So, if it was my individualistic belief and I was a red pill and I came up with the stuff and said, women can't work, then that's a different argument. Then I would say yes.
Well, that's based on your interpretation, right? You could say that.
Not necessarily, because my interpretation is not derived from my personal understanding. It's how,
May I ask you something? Because I don't know your religion, but it's interesting to know what your background is, so we know where these thoughts come from. Are you Christian?
No, I'm Muslim.
You're Muslim, okay. I'm Christian, and so it's interesting to see how different ideologies result in how we think at the end concerning concerning life. I think that's interesting. I definitely respect your faith and everything. Just good to know where that comes from, because you could have been a devout Catholic, I don't know, and that's your understanding. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, that's true. Of course, like I apologize if I caused any offense to anybody, but
well, yeah. I mean, my dad was a house took care of us, and my mom worked actually because he was being incapacitated. So unfortunately, he spent more time taking care of us. So, but yeah, it was hard work. It was hard work for him. Absolutely, and I would do the same thing. There's nothing wrong with it. And my dad's best friend was the same. He was healthy, but his wife was a doctor and she worked, and he took care of his kids. Yeah.
I think the only people that would actually have an issue with this sort of thing anyway, because I think you've got to look at individual households. If the woman is out earning the man by, I don't know, say 10 times, would it not make sense for the man to be a house husband in comparison to the woman? Or are you going to live a life where you are having less of an income because of your ego as a man, because how uncomfortable you are in your masculinity, how, content you are as an individual, that you think that you have always got to have the upper hand? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But I would do want to say, I'm not sure if I understood you there, Age, but I do find my wife, she spends wiser than I do.
No, what I'm trying to say, Kira, is it all depends in an individual household, okay? Say, for example, your wife, she's earning 100,000 a year, and you yourself are earning 25,000 a year. You have a child. Rather than putting the child into childcare, you both decide that one of you should stay at home to look after the child. What makes more sense for you to leave your 25,000 a year income to stay home with your child, or your wife leaving the 100,000 a year?
Me?
The child.
Gladly stay home. She's making 100K, of course.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. A man who is content in his masculinity will have no issue and be like, you know what? My woman is making so much more than me. Please go make the money.
That's what
and let's run your house.
Okay, even if it was 50K, 40K, 30K. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I just want to say housework is very hard work. I'm sorry, I just have to say that. It's not
It is. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that sometimes you'll find some men who are so they would feel demasculated being in that situation, if that makes sense.
I don't get it. My dad took care of us as well.
No, my comment wasn't even aimed at you.
No, I'm saying like I'm not. So at least you know I'm not bullshitting you guys. Like I'm not saying that for that was my life. My dad was in fact. Yeah, it's a long story what happened, but he did take care of us when we worked.
I've never started my card on the table so that it was my plate. No thanks. I'd gladly take my card up here. Here you go, babe. It's on me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What does that mean, Sunny? What's she saying there, Ferry?
When a guy is insecure, right, and he doesn't want it to look like his wife is paying, he'll get her to like slide the card on the table so it's perceived that he's the provider in the relationship when he's not.
So it's interesting how religion plays a role in all this understanding, because for me as a Christian, when my wife earns, it's I earn. When I'm doing housework, it's together, it's a team. No one's higher than the other. And
why are you pretending today?
I'm not pretending, it's fact. I'm Christian and this is
I'm just maybe something has happened, maybe you're born again.
No.
The last time we spoke.
And the last you too, I could say the same thing for you, Ferry. Maybe you're born again.
No, the last time we spoke, you were saying that you're against divorce and you believe that women shouldn't get divorces.
Here's how I feel. I don't. Here's how I feel about divorce. Here's how I feel about divorce. No, I didn't say women should be divorced. I never said that, Ferry. Of course, if you want to get divorced, get divorced. I'm saying that I know in my heart. I don't remember the conversation last time, but I know in my heart that it's sad to see that. And I think if we know the ideology that we have is successful if it leads to a good marriage, I think, as well. You see? If it leads to peace around.
What ideology is that?
Well, whatever ideology you have. Like, for example, just an example. Here's an example. So my nephew's atheist, right? My nephew's about it. But I told him, look, that's fine. You have the right to be atheist, but we expect better better attitude than not worse. When you're a Christian, you're a nice little kid, and you're very polite. You know, now you're atheist. Okay, great. Show us what it can show us the results of that, the fruits of that. And if it's better, great. It shouldn't be worse. That's all I mean.
Right. So what does that have to do?
That the ideology should be conducive to the family, which is a happy family, a stable, connected family. And I think that's what we did for the last time, Ferry, is that I felt, and it could be wrong, it's all feeling. You and I are very fiery people, I think. That's why we got it clashed. Is my feeling was that that the discussion was, was impacting the marital life, maybe. But I could be wrong. You know what? I've got no idea. I don't know you that well. I shouldn't have judged you, and I'm so sorry for that. I'm glad that you're here. It's a chance for me to apologize as well.
Okay, go ahead, apologize.
I'm sorry if I upset you. Happy. Is that makes you happy? You're very aggressive. You're
aggressive because I didn't agree with you.
Sorry?
Was I aggressive or were you offended because I didn't agree with you? You were offended. I thought something was you felt. Well, it's not just me. People in the room did kind of.
Wait.
And you're upset.
It's cool. I think you're a great girl, actually.
Right, thanks for sharing.
Okay.
And look, you know what? If you're going to apologize, do it properly. Don't. You're going to apologize. Just do it, right? I'm really sorry for if I offended you. That's it. Don't do any kind of little caveats. It just makes the apology disingenuous. Just if you don't want to apologize, don't.
No, I did.
Yeah, especially when you're like trying to push microaggressions on me because I was not aggressive and I was not animated. You were, sir. You were, because you were offended by me stating that you were wrong on your stance that women are at fault with getting pursuing divorce, and I mentioned that it's because previously, there was a taboo for when women did so. That's why the divorce rate is much higher, because in the past, if a woman wanted to get divorced, she didn't have that kind of societal backing as we do now.
Yeah. Something with your Islam, please just stop.
Have you noticed, Hero, that men actually live now longer compared to when women could not get divorced?
Have you noticed that? But Rich, if I just
there used to be a lot of accidental death. Back then.
Oh my God.
So no, there was. It was a generous case. Have you never heard of that?
The argument didn't hold. I do. The argument didn't hold between me and Barry. The argument didn't hold between me and her because
no, I'm just letting you know that you should be thankful that we can get a divorce now, because you know what? More men are staying alive because of that.
Yeah, but okay, you're making light of you're just joking.
I'm not making light of I'm being serious.
Yeah, but okay.
As a divorced woman, if I would not have got my divorce, best believe I would rather have spent 10 years behind bars.
Okay, Rach, let me answer this then seriously. This is good that you can get divorced right now, and you're, because you can get jobs before it's true. What Ferry said was true, and I mentioned that before she came. What she said was right, that in the past, but that was in the past. Today I'm sad to see the divorce rate so high. I'm just sad. That's the first point. That's the point.
One of the main reasons why divorce rate is so high is people are jumping into things not knowing fully who they're getting married to. Let me explain how.
No, Sharish, I'm just upset. Yeah, but whatever the reason is, I'm sad that it's so high. Okay, so then.
But maybe you should be preaching that people should be more genuine. Well, because you know what? There's not for everyone.
You're acting from the cause for people being ungenuine and getting divorced. I'm not.
No, but you're saying, oh, you're sad. But as a divorced person, I'm happy that there are more divorces. Because you know what that means? That people are living their true, authentic life. They're not stuck in miserable marriages.
Also, with this
divorce,
divorce,
hold on, Joyce, but the thing is.
Hold on. Zaydo, I need to address this. If you're going to talk about religion again, which I know you are, don't do it, because you will get dropped. The host has said, literally,
tomorrow we'll talk about religion. Tomorrow, okay,
yes.
Another topic. Okay, yes. Okay, and I want Kayo to come on tomorrow.
I'll bring you tomorrow, Zado.
Please do not invite me to the live. I'm telling you now.
All right. Good to see you, man.
No, I'm not coming.
All right, I just want to say something here, Rachel.
No, I'm not going to say anything. I was shit on top first. Hold on. I think the majority of divorces today, yes, I believe women should have a right to divorce us if there's a reasonable cause.
Who are you to decide a reasonable cause? We have no fault divorces for a reason. Okay? Be thankful that we've got no fault divorces, because you know what? The amount of men that would be having their names dragged through the mud, the amount of issues it would cause in actually getting the initial divorce in the first place when there was no fault divorces, lengthened out women being miserable in marriages.
I mean, sorry. If you're married, I just don't feel like loving that guy anymore because you feel like.
That's a good enough reason.
No, that is not good.
That is a good enough reason.
Yes, again.
That is a good enough reason. Who are you to decide that somebody should be stuck living a miserable life just because you said so?
Why did you marry me with your first friend?
Because you can fall in love and fall out of love. It's all part of the love.
Then you have to stay there married. That's it.
Wait.
Who's talking to your wife, man? She must be so miserable being married.
Wait.
That's not what I see to say.
I want to say
that's her to say. Just be kind to each other when we talk. So look, I just want to say something. Can I say something, please? I was patient, and then the XZ guy just interrupted. Just for the benefit of people's understanding, and especially Ferry, I was offended by the way of the delivery, and I give you an example. I said, "You want to try?"
We're moving topics. You're moving topics again. Sorry, let's stop this. You've apologized. Let's move on. Joyce?
No, but she got it wrong. All right, I'm just saying. You point them.
So one of the things I dislike about this discourse regarding divorce, particularly when it comes from women's perspective, is this idea that we haven't thought it out, right? And this idea that, oh, we just suddenly fall out of love.
Oh, yeah.
There is always consequence. Somebody decides to divorce, something has happened, and it's an accumulation of lots of different actions. It's not something that somebody decides, I'm going to divorce you today. No, it doesn't work like that. There have been lots of different things that have become untenable and gone beyond the pale where there can be no sort of harmony before that happens. So this idea that women suddenly decide to just turn because they fall out of love. If that person fell out of love, what did the person do to make that person fall out in love with you?
Like, what can you give examples?
No, that's immature. Sorry, Joyce.
No. The immaturity comes from the idea that women are not capable of thinking clearly when it comes to divorce. That's the type of language that you are used, the type of language that has been used to know or across the board regarding divorce that, it's something that women just do at the top of their head. No. It's not that.
Joyce, the language you just used right now is immature, if I may say so.
No. What I'm saying is that when a woman decides to divorce, it's because she has thought about it long and hard, and it's not something. It's not like it's a wind of change or something like that. It's not that.
It doesn't finish, mate. Hold on.
It's not that, and I think it's not that. So. The reason why I'm a bit dismayed at the language is used is it's slightly reductive, and it treats women in a way that we're not able to think about what's happening in our own lives, which is not the case.
No, hold on. You can answer. No, what it's saying, just wait.
She was talking to me. I didn't ask you to talk. Shut up. The thing is, Joyce.
Just not him. Sorry, he got dropped. Moving on. Who was next?
Me, sorry. So to say this, Joyce. All right, guys. Be careful how I'm going to say this because I don't want to be dropped either. Like, let's look at societies where they have successful marriages in terms of stats. That's going to be so I'm not Indian. I'm not Indian, but apparently.
No, but I am. So go on, talk to me, Kira. I'm Indian.
You're Indian. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I was chatting with an Indian colleague of mine, and she was saying that in her culture, I'm just sharing information here, that in their culture, love comes after marriage, way after, and so they don't really get, they don't. In my culture,
I've done arranged marriages. If you've had an arranged marriage, then yes, that can be a situation. But even in a lot of arranged marriages, what tends to happen is the parents introduce people, and then they go on dates. Then they decide to get married. It's not like how it used to be back in my parents' days or your parents' days, when people were just introduced.
Can I just say though, even in an arranged marriage, right? Some of them, yes, like they won't obviously meet and fall desperately in love with each other. Love will build over time or it won't. So that's why you'll have some successful arranged marriages where it's been a good match and they've grown to love one another, and then there'll be an arranged marriage where it's not a good match and they're not getting along.
There's a difference between the book and tolerance though.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, what did Tracy say? What did she say?
There's a difference between love and tolerance.
There is.
So the point I wanted to make is this: what for them, for my Indian friend at least, what she told me, that what makes the marriage work is respect. So love is not really that important. Love, it is important. It is important. But what's important is respect and the way she deals with him, and this is what makes it work.
But you cannot love me and not respect me. That goes hand in hand. I'm sorry, if you tell me you love me, but you're disrespectful towards me, then you're lying, because that's not love.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
So no, sorry, I disagree with that bit.
But I actually agree with you. That's true, but I'm saying love isn't. I mean, love can come and go, but respect should always be there. You see? Right. So the respect should always be there. So respect, in fact, is more important than love, right? So. Because
no, I want love. I think if I was to be married to anyone, okay, I need love to be there. I'm sorry. No, I can respect my friends. I can live with my friends. It don't mean that I want to share my soul with my friend. It don't mean that I want to share every bit of me with my friend. The only person I'm going to be doing that with is a man that I am deeply in love with, who's deeply in love with me.
But Rach, when you got married the first time, was it not the case you fell in love?
Sorry?
When your first marriage that failed,
yeah,
was it based on love or was it arranged marriage?
It was based on love.
Well, what happened then?
What happened was we got married when we were both 19. He pretended to be somebody he wasn't. As I found out over the years, you asked me a question, let me finish talking. We fell in love when we were young. We got married at 19. We both came from different backgrounds, different cultures, and I thought, it's okay, we could make things work. But he had lied about who he was. He wasn't authentic about who he was. Had he been authentic, I would not have got married to him in the first place. Even then, because of the background that I come from, I spent 10 fucking miserable years with that bastard. And then I had the balls to go and get a divorce.
Yeah, but
so no, if any woman tells me that she wants a divorce, I know she's thought about it enough to have worked out all the consequences to know that that is the right step for her.
Yeah, we don't just wait
for whatever reason. Even if she says, I want a divorce because he's done this, I'm like, okay, cool. It may not seem like a big thing to me and you, but that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I was literally just going to say that. Women don't just wake up one day and say, right, like, we're getting divorced. It's something that builds up over time. Sometimes it's like you say about tolerance. Sometimes you just lose your tolerance and your patience, and one day they do something really small and minute for somebody else, but to you that is the cherry on the cake, and you're like, nah, I've had enough, that's it, now I'm done. But it's always like a fizzy bottle. Imagine like a bottle fizzing and fizzing and fizzing and fizzing and fizzing away every single day, and then one day it just explodes. That's how I would explain that.
Do you know for the first
Thank you, babe.
Did you guys get married to church?
Hero,
Sorry?
for the first 2 years, I couldn't even tell my own parents that I was separated from my ex-husband.
Why is that then?
Because of the stigma that it comes attached to my community. I'm the first person from both my mom's side and my dad's side.
So he was Indian too, I suppose.
No, he was mixed race.
Mixed race. Guys, just out of curiosity, so you must be Hindu, right?
Yeah, I'm Hindu.
Nice. Indians are very smart. This is, yeah, you're right.
You know, there's smart people in all religions.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So don't be like Indians are smart, because there are some dumbasses.
Yeah.
Don't make it about religion.
No.
But me and my ex, we came from different religions, different backgrounds. We spoke completely different languages. One of his languages, as in his mom's language, I still can't speak it to this day. We have 2 beautiful children together, and I know what it took for me to walk away from that marriage. So, and you know what? For the first 5 years, when I couldn't even tell people what had actually gone on between me and him in my marriage, when people would ask me, why did you leave him? Do you know what my fucking answer would be? Because he used my credit card for something. And that was the fucking straw that broke the camel's back for me.
Oh, wow. I just want to say, when I said Hindu, I meant Indian. Indians are smart. That's whether Hindu is Sikh or Muslim.
So you're stereotyping.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. But it's positive.
No, but it doesn't matter. Don't stereotype.
Yeah,
like I said, there are some dumb Indians too.
Well, okay, I'm in an industry where these people are just geniuses. Sorry, I have to say, but they're just brilliant.
Anyways, can I just
raise that is just geniuses or just dumbasses? We have a mixture of all in all races.
Fine, you're sorry for what happened. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, can I just give my 2 pence on this, please?
Hold on, Joyce. Joyce, you didn't see the argument between me and Fairy Lady. So don't tell me, I apologize sincerely. You're not my mom, right? I apologize when I apologize. Yeah? So You wouldn't like it if I told you I don't apologize like that. This is why I apologize. This is how she deserved the apology. She was very
Move on.
Move on. This is for Joyce.
I'm listening to you. The reason why you'd never have to say that to me is because I understand the importance of an apology, and it will always be done well. Okay, let's move on then. You want to move on?
Thank you. I just want to make the point that for me personally, I believe, as many people do, I believe in the sanctity of marriage. I really want to get married once, as people intend to do when they do get married. But I do. Pardon?
Can we let user 22 finish her sentence before we jump in?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. But I do also think that if you haven't exhausted all the options, i.e. therapy, girl, shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Fuck you, bitch.
You shut up.
I'll drop her.
Yeah, if you haven't got to therapy prior to marriage, and also if you haven't tried therapy to try and save your marriage, like if you haven't tried those things, then I'm gonna look at you sideways. However, if you have tried those things, or even just tried talking to your partner and they're just not taking you in, then yeah, like do what you gotta do, girl.
Yeah, so like user 22, say if you
thinking, let me just leave my partner just because. You know, when you are married, when you do take those vows, when you do take those commitments, no one goes into it thinking, oh yeah, I'm on a random Tuesday, I'll wake up and I'll go and get divorced just for shits and giggles, you know. Although I do joke about doing that.
Rach, did you take as user 22 said, did you get help?
No, I didn't go to therapy.
I was just going to ask the question, say if you thought about therapy but the other person was intolerable to that and was like, no, I'm not doing that. User 22, would you think, well, fair enough, like you asked, there's nothing you can do if the other person doesn't want to?
I don't think anyone should be that anyone will leave in a relationship, whether that be married or not.
You can't, if someone doesn't want to go to therapy, they don't have to go to therapy. Yeah. But like, at the end of the day, as I said, you've exhausted that option. So that's one thing to tick off the list. But I mean, my thing is that like, let's say like if you feel detached from your person, you feel like you're falling out of love with them. Like for example, Rage, what happened to you? That's bad, okay? That's financial AD, yeah. But
that wasn't even the least of my worries either. Okay, I put up
just one example. But my example, can I just finish my point? My example of, let's say you're falling out of love with that person. You need to try and get close together again, because at the end of the day, you chose to get married to each other. You made that vow, that decision in front of God or whoever to literally spend the rest of your lives together, to love each other, to respect. Can I finish, please?
Yeah, go on.
If you do not make a conscious decision, you both, okay, it's a joint effort. If you don't make a conscious decision to actually fall back in love with each other, actually do things, get out there, do something together to try and rebuild that relationship, that bond, then you have failed. You have failed.
So what you're saying, for someone like Ratch, obviously, women that are in A/B relationships, I don't think that obviously that covers it, because that's a completely different domain. But for a relationship that doesn't contain A/B, abuse, sorry. Yeah, so for a relationship that doesn't have that hardcore element, what I will say is when you're with somebody like how I've been with my partner since I was 17, and I'm now in my 30s, and we've got 3 children. You kind of have different stages of life. So like when we first got together, I can't really remember how we were, because it's like we've lived loads of different lives together. That's the only way I can explain it. So the first life was when we first met, had lots of holidays and stuff. And then our second life was when we had a baby, and then our third life was when we moved house. Like I feel like we go up and down. We've had about 9 lives together, if that makes any sense.
Are you happy?
Yes, but what I will say is there's been times where both of us have maybe not been happy, but we've worked on it. But I just think we can't generalise that to everybody, because there are relationships where A, B, DM DB, sorry, is a big part of it, and you can't try in a relationship like that. The safest thing to do is leave, you know?
Yeah, so you're basically backing up my point, Sam. That's exactly what I said.
But hold on, can I just ask you guys a question? I want to ask everyone around the panel. Do you actually know anyone who's just decided to up and leave and not try on the marriage and just leave?
No.
There are people that do that.
Wait, do you know how expensive it is to get a divorce? Do you know how much of a hassle that is? Do you know how much of a ball ache it is? It's not easy.
Well,
sorry, just a question for you, 22. Do you remember what Sam just said?
Yeah, she backed up my point. I said that sorry if I butchered your name there. I said that her situation is different because that was financial AB.
But what I have been saying is that not everyone will tell you crystal clear, I'm leaving my marriage because of X, Y, Z. Because you know what? It's none of your business until they're ready to tell you, or if they will ever be ready to tell you. Like, it has taken me 7 years to even share my story on a platform. I was in an abusive relationship with my ex-husband for 10 years.
Abusive?
He used to speak black and blue. And I stayed. And for 2 years, I couldn't tell anyone that I had left.
Right, that's fine, yeah. That's
but
fine.
What I think is it's no one's business. Like, if somebody decides that they don't want to be in their marriage, they will have had a good enough reason to leave. Believe me on that. It is not easy. It's not easy for anyone to leave a marriage.
What everybody's saying, okay?
No, because what you're saying
it's not easy to leave order. It's not easy to leave a marriage, and don't take what I'm saying personally because I'm not directing this at you. Okay? At the end of the day, I don't give a heck if someone wants to divorce their partner. Like that, you're right, that's none of my business. But we're not talking about divorce in the first place. So should we just sit in silence? Or what the whole topic is about? Should we just sit in silence then?
That's what the topic was about before you came up. That's what
divorce. Yeah.
Okay. Can I say something? I can see your perspective of the idea that, you know, if a marriage doesn't work out, then everybody has failed. And I can see that perspective. But again, like I said before, if you are married to someone, I've been married with my husband. I'm about to celebrate 20 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Wow, congratulations.
20 years. I met my husband when I was 19 years old. So there's nobody can tell me bullshit about marriage, okay? It is not easy.
No.
But it is not easy. But I've also seen where sometimes you do choose, not in mine, but with other people's marriages, where they have tried to connect, they've tried to rebuild, they've done the counseling, they've spent time together. But sometimes people are just at different places in their life and they see things differently. And at that point in time, a divorce is better because it's better that they go on to be happy in their own new life. So I think this sort of idea of, I think we need to be careful about these type of absolute ideas. Like I said before, I'm going to stand. Before somebody decides to choose to divorce, someone has thought about it for a very, very long time. And they have, if counseling is needed, they have tried it if the other partner's willing. If they need to go and think about it themselves and get counseling on their own, I generally find that people do it. But it's not something that people make a snap decision on. And I will always stand on that.
This is exactly what I've been saying.
Yeah, it's never
whether
going to
it's or not.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like a snap fix. What I will say is my auntie, she was married and they were together for like years and years, like 15 years or something. And they seem to have like similar views. They didn't want to have children. They wanted to travel. They wanted to do all this stuff. And then one day, after they put a deposit down on the house, they took years saving for because of the area they live in being so expensive. He just came in and said, "I don't want to be with you anymore," and walked out. And obviously that seems really sudden, and he gave no reason to her. He gave her no closure at the start. Obviously, after time, she realised that he had had his head turned off work by a 21-year-old girl and had gotten her pregnant. So that was a to rub salt in the wounds. She's now in menopause. He's potentially lied about not wanting children. And not only has he just sort of then made her lose all her money on this house and said, I'm done, I'm going. He's now had 2 children with this 21-year-old. So she obviously, that felt really, so at the time that feels really sudden, doesn't it? And you wonder why. But then I guess for him, he was obviously doing things behind her back and she didn't realise. So there's always things that are building up, but sometimes it can seem to an outsider or even to yourself like, what the hell, I didn't see that come in. And it can seem like a bit of a snap decision, if that makes sense.
In that situation, I can understand it, and that's fair. But again, when she didn't initiate the divorce, the husband did. So if the husband initiated the divorce, the husband had things that happened to him to make that decision. The decision was not taken lightly from his end because he's the one who initiated the divorce. So whoever decides to initiate the divorce, whether it's the man or the female, I'm still going to stand that there's always a circumstance, there's always lots of things that go on, and the decision is not snap.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sometimes it's just hidden, so it looks like it's a snap decision, but it isn't.
Yeah. So I'm saying that sometimes you may not know why they're getting a divorce, and it's no one else's business but that person's. But that's where I was coming from. But
yes, there's always a reason. But looking in, it can seem like you don't know. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I said. Yeah. Sometimes you may not always know. That's why I even said in regards to my own example. But I used to tell people, it's because he used my credit card once. But it wasn't because of that. It was because of all the other things that had gone on and all the things that I found out after. It was because of everything together. But that was my story to tell, as and when I was ready. It wasn't based on as and when my parents were ready, or as and when my friends were ready, or as and when my brothers or my sister were ready. That was my story to tell.
Yeah, but you went through 10 years of hideous stuff, and obviously,
and you know, even
that's a lot to unpack yourself, isn't it?
Exactly, and even in regards to your auntie and her husband, maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he wanted children. Maybe she didn't. We don't know anything out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to get back with my auntie before he found out the girl was pregnant. So I don't know, but he's obviously Welsh off, a good guy in the end.
Mm-hmm. That's a mad story. I'm not even gonna lie.
I know, and he's one of those guys as well that you least expect it from. You know, those people that you just don't expect that behave like that, or that anything will happen that you think, they're solid, they look really happy together. Like she didn't even see it coming, let alone anybody else.
Yeah, I know the case that happened recently. She was left. Obviously, when they came together, they agreed that they didn't want to have a kid, right? But in his mind, he always wants to have more. He already had a kid. She don't have a kid. She can't have a kid, right? So they start relationship, and then they agreed that they was not going to have a kid. But he changed his mind, and he ended up, getting another woman pregnant, and he left her. They divorced. So yeah, things can happen. Both sides, men or female.
Sorry, Sam. So she couldn't have babies, your auntie?
She could, but she'd seen a lot of things. So, like, my mum and my other auntie, so her 2 sisters, had children quite young. And she'd seen the stress of that, if that makes sense, that cycle. And I think it put her off having children. And so when she met him, and he sort of expressed to her, oh gosh, I don't want children either, I want to travel. They seem like the perfect match. So it's kind of unfair on her in the way of if he did want children, he could have said when she was in a stage of that point where she probably would be able to have a baby, if that makes sense, that conversation. But he left it so long that she wouldn't have physically been able to, because now she's in menopause, like she can't. But to be honest, it seems as though he had his head turned, made a mistake, accidentally got somebody pregnant and has obviously stayed with them because he's got them pregnant, because he did try and get back with her, but then he found out the other woman was pregnant and went back. But he has since had another baby with her, so he obviously has enjoyed the experience of being a father. And my auntie, obviously it hurts her a lot, and I can completely understand why. It's a hurtful thing to happen, isn't it?
How long were they together, if you don't mind me asking? Do you know?
Yeah, they were together for about 15 years.
Oh.
They were married for 10.
Oh.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, she's nearly finished doing her nursing qualification now, so she's, like, doing something with her life. But she lost lots of money because obviously they've saved and put a portion into the new build. So she lost all of that, and she was like, I'm not paying for the divorce. If you want to divorce me, you're paying, kind of thing. So she made him pay, like, I think it's like £500 or something on the government website now, the no-fault divorce thing. So she made him pay her fee. Otherwise, she said, I'm not signing, because she was like, I've lost so much money, I'm not paying anymore. Like, it's your decision to do what you've done, kind of thing, which I think was fair enough, to be honest.
So wait, was it his decision to get a divorce then?
Well, obviously it became untenable. Yes, it was mutual, but obviously she was still devastated. But when she found out that a 21-year-old was pregnant with his baby, it would have been untenable for them to be married still, really, wouldn't it? So essentially it had to be divorce. But she sort of put her foot down and said, well, I'm not paying for the fee because I've already, like, literally a couple of days before you walked in and said you're going, I've put all this money. You could have said before that, kind of thing. So she just said, like, you've done it, you pay, kind of, yeah.
Guys, what can we do to help? I mean, what kind of discussions can we do to help people that are going through this? I mean, I think maybe at the beginning of a marriage there could be better advice, maybe. But it's too late, isn't it?
I think what would be really helpful is if people live together for at least 2 years before they got married.
Yeah, I think being with somebody for a little while before you're married.
I'm so against that. I disagree. That doesn't make a difference.
Right. It can make massive difference.
Because from the statistics, from the stats, sorry, I don't know who interject, but from the stats, we see that people, they already co-live, their boyfriends and girlfriend for how many years, then they get married and they're still divorced.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, you don't really get to know someone to that degree unless you live with them. Imagine getting married to someone that you don't know, and you don't know how they live. You don't know how they live. You don't know if you're compatible to be in the same bed as each other day in, day out. Like, I'm sorry.
It's not how they live. Hold on. The reason why I think things change, if you listen to what Joyce said, that she's been married for 20 years, I'm just learning from what she said. She's been married for 20 years, and she said been ups and downs, right? And because the situation changes. So the thing is, let's say for the first 2 years, you and your boyfriend are happy, you do a good job. But then when you get married, that's your third year together, Sam, the third year together, he loses his job and becomes aggressive. But you didn't see that in the first 2 years. So the different phases in life change.
Yeah, but becoming aggressive, again, we're going down a DV relationship route, which isn't a normal relationship. Exactly. If somebody's being aggressive, then that's not a normal. But you need to present a change in the relationship that doesn't include DV.
Exactly. But you could have to live with you. It means you'll never get married. You live with a guy for ages until you see a fault that you don't like, and then leave the guy because that situation happened where we.
No, I lived with mine for a couple of years. Granted, at his parents. We got our first 2 up and 2 down house when I was pregnant with my first daughter, because we moved out the area we were in because we didn't feel like we wanted to raise a girl there. Granted, it was with his parents, but I did still live with him before, and also before the baby was born, we were living together as well. So I do think you do need to. You learn a lot about somebody when you live together.
All right, here's the question then. Obviously, the follow-up question, the $1 million thing is: what point do you say, yeah, I know him now? At what point? You see what I'm saying? It's endless.
Never truly know someone like 100%. Never, ever, ever.
Unless you're in their head, yeah. Unless you're in someone's head telepathically, but you will it's like Joyce said as well. Things take time. So we're talking about healthy relationships here, not like you say aggression and things like that.
Yes, healthy.
No, aggression isn't healthy.
It starts off healthy. Sorry, love. Everything starts off healthy. Everything's healthy. We can all.
No, aggression isn't healthy.
I know. Then it happens. I know it's not healthy, Sam. I'm saying that everything starts off as healthy, and then when something, then something, happens in life, tragedy happens, and you can change. People can.
It's never because of tragedy. Listen, those are abusers, will have been abusers from the very beginning. They're very good at hiding it, and the way that they start abusing, the majority of the situations is bit by bit. When you don't understand abusive relationships, I don't understand why you keep bringing that into a normal relationship. An abusive relationship is not a normal relationship.
I can have this conversation with you, Kiro, based on a healthy relationship, not a relationship that contains DV, because that's complete. And I think all women on here and men will agree that that's not correct to compare. But in terms of very similar to what Joyce has said, and myself, I said I kind of feel like I've lived multiple lives with mine, because we've gone through ups and downs and we've had to work on things. There's been times where things have been really sticky, but we've got through it. We lost a little girl in March this year, and obviously we've had bereavement, and that's been quite difficult. So that hasn't been very good, but it's one of those things. I know, thank you, but I know we will get through it because we've always got through everything else. But I'm in a relationship where I don't feel frightened, and he doesn't feel frightened. We're not hurting each other. We don't have any aggression and things like that. So it's a healthy relationship. Sorry.
Fair enough, Sam. You make a fair point, because if you think about this for a second, guys, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know. I honestly don't know what goes into a man's head to make him aggressive or AD. What's DV, Sam? You mentioned DV. What the heck is that? DV?
Domestic.
Oh, no. That's right, lying. Yeah.
So when you talk about aggression, somebody being aggressive to another person, that wouldn't be a healthy relationship. So if you're with somebody and they get aggressive, you're going to flinch and be scared, aren't you? And that's not healthy.
Sam, of course it's not healthy. That's abnormal. What I'm saying is that you don't see that. Sometimes it could be hidden in the first 2 years when you're.
It's always hidden. That's why we're not using that as a comparison.
And you know what, Kiro?
Talk about a normal relationship.
Yeah.
We're talking about normal relationships.
I'm saying, Kiro, the fact that you've said about living together, that could come out. Yeah, you said something along those lines. I would rather it come out then, because when you're at home, when you're living together or whatever, you're in your element, you're comfortable, right? That's the perfect opportunity to get to know that person. If my person, I'll know, getting to know that person, I'll know if they're acting out of character, i.e. that's not the norm for them, okay, maybe they're stressed out or something like that, Either way, it's not an excuse, but I know it's not them, rather than someone that's actually, okay, now I'm getting to know that, this is actually the real you. Do you get? I don't want to marry someone and not live with them and not know them to that degree. That's just not possible for me.
Here's just a question for you, what's the end date for you? When you say, I know him now, 100%. I
just said you never know someone 100%, but I'm going to know you better. Can I finish? I'm going to know you better if I live with you prior to marriage than if we get married and then we choose to live together, because now we've signed the dotted line. We're together now, forever. I'm not then gonna live with you and then find out, he's actually a madman, and then choose to get a divorce. That's not what anybody wants, ever.
But I do think some things in life can drive you insane. Some tribulations in life can happen, where it may happen just as people can change for the worse.
Yeah, people can change, but that's not what we're talking about. Okay, take this scenario, for example, that I will always advocate for people to live together before they get married because I didn't do that shit and I wish I had. Okay?
Yeah.
And I actually tell my kids as well that in the future, when they decide to settle down, if they actually ever want to settle down with somebody, then they must live with that person for 2 years as a bare minimum. Because you know what? A person can only hide who they truly are for so long. For example, if I started living with somebody and every 5 minutes I see him on the phone to his mom, do you think I'm going to want to marry that man? Probably not. If I see him asking his mom, Mummy, what have you made for dinner every other day? Do you think I'm going to want to marry that that man? No. If I see him going out all the time with his mates, am I going to realise he's not compatible with me? Again, absolutely. If I live with a man, okay, when we just dating, it's different because he can take me out to eat. He can be the perfect vision of a man that I'm looking for. But when we're living together, that's when he can show me as to whether he's the type of man that I will be compatible with or not. And you know what? Honestly speaking, I think you can see that in the first 3 months. You don't even need it to be that long. But then sometimes it can take a little bit longer. So this is why I'm saying that it would be good for somebody to live with someone for at least 2 years before getting married, basically.
I agree.
I've been married for 18 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Rich. 18 years, and I was with my wife. I knew her 3 months before we got married. Like we knew we dated 3 months roughly. So I didn't know that well. But some things happened. It was a love story, very, very made like Romeo and Juliet, right? We met in Paris, asked her to dance, and she danced, we fell in love. But a few things happened that really drew my attention to her integrity. It's really a lady of integrity, and I like that. And I thought she's really hot. Yeah, I mean, for me as a man, I'm a man, right? So obviously, I thought she was quite pretty. For me. And she still is. I'm very happy, I think. I'm personally very happy.
You know what, Mira? I honestly wish that everyone that gets married to the person that they believe they're getting married to. I wish that was the environment that we were living in. We're not living in that environment, babe. We're living in an environment where, you know, things don't work out, where people do change, things happen. And yeah, you know what, like Paula said, sometimes kids change people as well. Absolutely, they do. But it's like you either, you know, every time you have these trials and that in your marriage, you've got to weigh up what's going to be the better option for me as an individual. Staying in this relationship and working on it, is that something that's attainable? If yes, great. If it's not, then okay, what can we do to try and make it attainable? If there's nothing that we can do to try and make it attainable, then it's okay to leave too. But when you're going into it blindly, okay, the way that, you know, some people do, it's scary because you don't know what that person is like at all.
Yeah, that's like what I said.
Nicely and be on their best behaviour for like, I don't know, 6-7 hour days. It's not going to be more than that, is it?
Yeah, I'm so cool. I'm just going to say that.
Rachel, may I just ask you something? Do you know, like, your parents are like Hindu and so on? Like, when you were dating this gentleman, your ex, did you feel a bit resentment that they may have didn't encourage you to live together before marriage because of, you know, your traditions? There's like no.
Actually, my parents were completely opposite. I was dead religious.
Oh, wow.
I wanted my first time to be with my husband.
No, Rachel, my love.
I was completely, stupidly in love.
My love.
So this is why it don't make sense. None of this makes sense to me. Like my sister, she has had an arranged marriage, okay? She's been happily married for 12 years now.
Right. Hey, but that's quite tough.
And you know what? Her and my brother-in-law, they dated for 4 years before they got married. They lived together in Dubai before they got married.
All right.
My parents actually encouraged this shit too.
Marriage, yeah, but it's not arranged then, is it?
It is arranged because my parents introduced that. That is what arranged marriage is. It's not
arranged, but they can live together. Sorry. Okay, yeah. Cool. I got some advice. It depends when I got married. I got some really good advice. Yeah, I don't know if I said this in the room. Do you remember this?
I don't.
Can I share? Take it was from an atheist. All right, happy. It's atheist. What he said to me is, at the first year I got married, I met this guy at work, and he said to me, "Oh yeah, marriage is like going on vacation." So he said, every marriage is wrong. Every marriage is wrong. It's all wrong. The girl you're with, she's not the right one for you. Everyone, I don't care how happy you are, she's not the right one for you. I said, oh, come on. He goes, yeah, look. It's like going on vacation. It's like, imagine, so I'm from France here. So France, on the left we have Italy, and on the right we've got Spain. So imagine I planned in my head, I have in my head, I'm going to go go on vacation, say to Rimini, right, on the Italian Riviera. So I planned it, I thought about it, it's what I want. I'm driving there with the kids and my wife in the car. We're going, and the road is blocked. The road is blocked. And you can't go to Italy. It's finished, dead end. Well, all we have to do is now go to Spain. All right, it's dead end. We end up in Spain, right? Can you have a vacation in Spain? Can you enjoy yourself in Spain? It's not what you planned for. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, right? And can you? But if you're in Spain, don't stop bitching about Italy. That's going to make everyone miserable. And make you miserable, make them miserable. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So to translate that into normal language, normal languages, there's nothing called your soulmate. That's nonsense, right? And I'm saying as a Christian, it doesn't exist, right? I don't believe that. I don't believe in soulmates, all right? However, my wife. Hold on. Now I'm married. Like I was sleeping, right, a few weeks ago. I had really bad back pain, and for some reason, my wife all of a sudden put her hand right where it was painful without me saying a word, and she just pressed. I thought, oh, God bless you. I use you, angel. Thank you, right? And I thought, okay, she's my soulmate. She can feel me, but I think when you live with someone, you adapt to that person, and you are soulmates once you get to know each other, and once she feels you and she feels your pain, and you love together, you cry together, you make up together, be friends again together. That's when you may become soulmate. But to go around thinking Italy is where I'm destined, well, it's a vacation, love. Like go. But that advice made me happy because I come from a culture, unfortunately. That advice was good for me. Sorry, it may not be good for you. For me, it was good because we sort of come from an environment where, yeah, I am Christian, but it's an environment where it's Middle Eastern a bit. So we don't really date girls. Like we don't have boyfriends and girlfriends. We don't really do this yet. We sort of get to know. It's sort of semi-arranged, maybe. We get married, but we don't cohabit. That's not right. And so we have to decide. We have to really analyze the person. We're very good. Egyptians are very good at analyzing. We're very good at listening to you and saying, okay, all right, I see what's going on. And sometimes it's awful because we're very judgmental.
So, Kira, like obviously, different cultures, I fully respect that some cultures do not see it right to share a bed or cohabit before marriage. Yeah. You can still spend more time with that person before you sign that paperwork. So, ideally, in my culture, living, and the lady that said it, she's gone now, but albeit it was with his parents, like I said, but you do get to know them a little bit better. But obviously, in cultures where that's not quite so accepted, you can still do things to spend time to get to know that person better and spend longer before you do get married. And in certain situations and stuff, you can still pick up bad vibes, I guess, if there are any.
Yeah, I mean, my child is still too young, and like in my son, I have a boy, and if he met a girl where they couldn't date or they couldn't move in beforehand, and he wants to marry her, I would say marry her, but you cannot have any children until after you've been together 2 years single.
Yeah,
I would be extremely displeased if they haven't lived together for a long period of time and she felt pregnant. I would be extremely upset over that because you don't know her.
Yeah.
That was why I said, so yeah, if you want to marry her, but do not have children with her until you've been together for 2 years. That way you're now married, you're now living together, but no children before that period of time because you don't know each other enough. And if in that 2-year period there are issues, then let's go and either, if you want to iron them out. If the issues are not something you can work with, then let each person go their separate ways. But that would be what I would advise.
Yeah,
but I'm quite strict. I'm quite strict though.
The other side of the coin, though, love, is that you want to protect let's say your son, right? You want to protect him and say, yeah, don't.
I want to protect both of them, not only her. Because if my son marries her, she's also my daughter. This is the thing. It's not like this is for both of them because both of them don't know each other. And to be honest with you, even though he's my son, I'm actually slightly more concerned for her because she's a girl and I'm a girl. To be fair.
Right, that's nice. But here's my concern.
You sound like my mother-in-law, Joyce.
Sorry.
I have a really good relationship. I have a good relationship. Sorry, Kira.
But here's the other side of the coin, guys. Is it's well known that if you are with a girl and you're not sure of, the guy's not sure, and you cohabit, she becomes attached to you. So I'm a guy. She becomes attached. Right? I'm just taking my time getting to know her. We're cohabiting, so SCX is involved. And I just make someone else better. I can leave.
But so can she though. She can also meet someone better.
I'm not interested. Hold on one second. That's not me. I'm thinking how a man could think. I didn't do this. The first person I slept with was my wife. All right. So hold on. So all I want to say is I'm just thinking aloud the other side of the coin, that 1 year, 2 years together, because I had a friend, he's no longer a friend, he's an Indian guy, all right, Vishal, his name is Vishal. This guy, he met a Buddhist, he's Hindu, he met a Buddhist girl at uni, and so where I studied in the UK, I did my degree there. And this guy, he met a girl and he didn't find her that attractive, and he's like, I said to him, Vishal, what are you going out with her for? She's not even that pretty for you. And he said, but I still like her. They dated for 13 years. And then after 13 years living together, she's Indian but Buddhist, and he's Hindu. And she told him, look, is there a problem with me being Buddhist? He goes, no, it's fine. I'm a Hindu, it's fine. After 13 years, he left her and married someone else. All right. I was invited to.
Well, I could have told you that.
Crazy.
I could have told you that the moment you said 13 years not married, I could have told you that.
Right, exactly. So, right, Rachel would understand the ramifications here because Rachel is from that culture. So Rachel knows that the Indian girl is used goods for them.
No, it's not. The thing is, look, even regardless of the race, okay, because I rarely have ever dated in my own race, and it's not because of anything other. It just seems to be the people that I'm aligned with, okay? Anyway, if I'm with a man for more than 2 years and he has not asked for me to be his wife, do you think I'm going to stick around in that situationship? No, because that's all it is. It's not a relationship.
But 2 years, okay, Rach, here's the thing then. Fine, you said 13 years is too long.
Yeah.
2 years, love, hold on. 2 years is too long.
No, it's not.
Hold on a minute. If I had a daughter and you took her 2 years having your fun with her, then all of a sudden I'm not interested. What the heck?
I hear what you're saying, but you didn't listen to the premise. The premise was based on the idea that you do not have relations before you are married. So I'm saying that if my son married a girl who is not permitted to have to live with their partner beforehand, before they have children that would affect every aspect of their life, I would love them to have an opportunity to get to date whilst they are still married, which is what I've stipulated. First and foremost, there is no world with me, my husband, my sister, my husband's parents, my grandmother-in-law, that my son will be dating someone for 13 years and not marry them. Absolutely not. I would kill him first, no shade.
Thank you, Joyce.
No shame, because that type of disrespect is something I will not tolerate. But my example was not based on that. My example was based on the idea that you come from a culture where you do not permit living in couples living together before they get married. And I'm just saying that if my son met someone who has that background, I wouldn't want her to get married, be pregnant first. Okay. I want them to be married and have that experience and then have the baby.
Right, but forget my culture. Forget my culture. You gave me that advice based on my culture. Joyce, you're a lovely lady, okay? I've got to know you a bit more. I think you're lovely. The thing is now, forget my culture. It's not typical. What's typical is your culture. And I put myself in your shoes. And I'm like,
I don't think 2 years is too long for me, because I've got to look at my own situation. I've got 2 young children. Am I introducing a man to my children without dating him for a whole year?
Oh, hell no.
Like, he's or not? Heck no. Do you think I'm going to bring every next man that I go on a date with around my children? No.
That's so wrong. If I was to not be with mine, like, I don't,
And then I need a year to see if my kid's like him, because he's not just affecting my life, he's affecting my children's life too.
You guys
know I need that 2 years. If a man is proposing to me within 6 months of me knowing him, do you think I'm going to say yes to him? Absolutely fucking not.
Do you know, guys, I have to say this, right? Like, if you want to look at the root cause of all these problems, I think it's the man. Because from my experience,
what we do, Kira, we ship them all off to Mars.
I'm on board. I gotta tell you what happened. So this guy, he ruins this girl's life. She goes into hospital because for them in their culture, it's really bad. 13 years and living with a guy.
But the fact that she even did that, shame, honestly, because I'm not saying like she should be ashamed. I'm saying shame on the situation, because the thing is, even as an Indian girl, okay, majority of the time we are not permitted to live with somebody prior to getting married. However, I come from a family which is very open in regards to things. Like, my parents had a love marriage. I had a fucked up love marriage. Like, we are a mixture of a lot of things. I grew up in a Catholic school, so we are a mixture of a lot of things. Okay, so I understand that my family is a bit different in regards to that. But if any of my friends who come from the same background as me, or even myself, do you know how embarrassed I'd be telling my parents, oh yeah, you know, I've been dating this guy for 3 years. He's not spoken to you guys or met you guys or asked for my hand in marriage yet. My mom would slap me silly. She'd be thinking, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
But the funny thing is, it's not actually the boy or the girl's fault. It's all of you who were friends with this boy, who were witnessing that relationship, and not one of you pulled him to one side. If I found that my son behaved in that kind of way with male friends.
Joyce, let me tell you the story so you know what you're up against, okay? Let me tell you.
What did Vishal's parents say? I want to know that. Because how are they okay with that?
So he breaks up with this girl. I'm like, okay, you finished with her, all right. But he said, the reason I'm calling you, because I left and we met again. He goes to me, the reason why I'm calling you is sorry, just one second. Sorry. My wife is still sleeping.
All right.
She goes to me, the reason why I'm calling you somebody to Barcelona to have like a bachelor party. I said, okay, to marry the Buddhist girl. He goes, no, another girl. So I actually met the other girl. She's beautiful. This girl's absolutely stunning. I said, oh my God, it's brilliant. So he's getting everything. A new Hindu girl, beautiful. And in Barcelona, what she told me, the girl told me in the engagement party, she said to me, Kira, please make sure he doesn't get up to any hanky-panky, right? Nothing, no prostitutes, nothing naughty. I said, okay, sure. I was really, we go to Barcelona with me and him and all his Hindu friends. It was just me, I'm the only non-Hindu, and all of them are Hindu. And we go to Barcelona and they try to take him to prostitution place, right? And I'm like, guys, no.
Do you mean a dance club or a full-on brothel?
No, brothel. So I'm like, guys, hold on. Please don't do this. I'm like, guys, don't do this. And the guys that were there, I knew their wives because I studied with them. They're actually married girls. I knew their girls were beautiful, so nice, and they were attacking me. You're attacking me for saying no to go to. I said to him, look, Vishal, listen, bro, listen. You ruined one girl's life. You ruined one girl's life. And you can't do anything about it. At least you can try your best not to ruin her life now. Do something to make her happy. All right? Do something to make this nice girl happy. And he goes, yeah, but she won't know about it. And his friends hated me. They despised me for encouraging him not to go. And they did not go at the end. They hated me for it. So they were not in touch with me.
Hero. No, that's a piece of advice that my mother has always given to me. Whether it comes to men or friendship or whatever, you have a basket of fruit. If one fruit is rotten in that basket, they're all rotten. And I'm impressed with that, hero. That tells me more about you than it does tell me about everything else. So you know what? I'll take that for £1,000. That never happened.
But at the end of the day, that's a character. That man has got a character issue.
Yeah, but you only align yourself with people that are more like you and are vibrating at the same frequency.
Well, again, we started together. We're mates. So then what happened? So I didn't believe that story. That's fine. But Rachel, I'm sorry you don't believe that story. It's not a nice thing to say because it did happen. And then he ended up divorcing that girl.
Then you must have been like that at that point too, bro. That's all I'm saying. If one fruit is rotten in the basket, they all are.
No, I was his friend, but I don't know the other guys. I have no idea the other guys. But
stay away from people like that. That's what I say because they are toxic. They're not good, and they agree.
They'll try and drag you into things with them.
This is why I say, if one fruit is rotten, you keep yourself away. Otherwise, you're going to end up rotting like that, or otherwise you're already rotting like that.
Rachel, put the judgment aside. Rachel, put the judgment on me aside. It happened. It did happen. But the main thing is why did it happen? Why this apathy towards another human? Where did that come from? These are Indians living in the UK, all right? And it's worth looking at that story. It did happen, Rachel.
Okay, and we have people like that in all walks of life. As an Indian woman, I have 2 Indian brothers, multiple Indian cousins, okay? I know for a fact one of my brother rings me on, a weekly basis, telling me about the issues that he's having with his girlfriend. I know my other brother, he is okay, but I'll have his girlfriend calling me every other week too, telling me about the issues she's having. And I swear to God, if anyone told me my brother, either one of them was walking into a brothel, even because their friends were making them, even though they're both over 6 foot and I'm like 5 foot nothing, as their older sister, I would still slap them up.
It's a lot. But one thing I will say to you is, at the end of the day, we have to all take accountability. I know my mother was a single mother, and she was an amazing mother, but she always said to me, Kirsten, I don't want this for you. When you go out there, you go and find yourself a husband, and you give him the longest interview of his life. And that's what I did. We've been happily married now for 20 years. But I made sure I took him to everybody I could see and said, what do you think of this man? And I am so glad I did, because I'm happy, and I said I do not want to end up like my mum. She did a great job, but it was a hard job. I always say single mothers are amazing. But
do you guys have a shaman in your family? Like, for example, and what I mean by that is, like, if you go to that person and the person says it's not the one for you, everybody does what that person says.
Yes.
I have that in my family.
I didn't do that against my friend. I didn't beat my dad. My dad told me not to get married to him. I still did, because I was like, Dad, you don't know nothing. I thought I was a 19-year-old who knew everything.
Yeah, when I presented my partner to my husband, and my mum liked him, I said, you're a lucky man. I went, why? Because if my mum didn't like you, this relationship would end today. And she went, what? It's like, because my mum has this thing where she can see all of you. Yeah, she can see all of you. And she would just say, you're going to go out with this one here. Okay. Michelle, that's what that means. That's okay. Yeah. And when she says that in that tone, anyone who's gone against her, the marriage has always been hell in the marriage. Yeah. So it says, after seeing that, I don't. And my mum adores my husband. Like he loves her more than she loves me. To be fair. So to be fair. So I just wonder if anybody has that kind of relationship with their parents.
Yeah, like you know, and I said you're like my mother-in-law, Joyce. It wasn't a nasty thing. It was a compliment because I get on with her so well. She's like my mum. She looks out for me. We'll tag team up against James. Together. And like if he does anything like, you know, that's a bit wrong or whatever, she'll tell him off. And she's very much like what you said. I'm thinking about the girl as well. So like when I was having our first baby, she was thinking a lot for me rather than him, if that makes sense, because she could put herself in my shoes. So I have a really good I'm very lucky because I know a lot of people don't. I do have a good relationship with my in-laws. Yeah, and I do think that does help a little bit. I think.
You not think it's important so that when you're getting married to someone, you're not just married that person, you married the whole family.
Yeah.
I would say be very careful. If they don't accept you, I always say this, I would have walked away if they really get on really well, because I can't take the stress. And I was when I got married, very happily that I waited. And my dad, who was not a great dad, said, "That's a good man." And he was not, my dad was not great. And he said, "I know a good man when I see him, that's a good man." And I thought, well, if you're saying, Mum's saying, he's a good man. And he was, and he is.
That's good.
No, Rachel, sorry, I only knew Vishal. That's it. I didn't know the rest.
You said you went to uni with them all.
With their wives, not with them. I went. So these guys I don't know them. I know their wives. I know who they married.
Okay.
So I don't know them at all. Huh? Only he's a nice kid as well. Vishal's a lovely guy. We just talked for hours in our campus. Anyway, the thing is, what's the burning issue I have in my head to share with you guys is this apathy towards women that they have. Where do they come from? And this could be
masculinity.
This could be another topic, yeah. Masculinity, whatever else.
No, not masculinity, because you can have healthy masculinity too. This comes from toxic masculinity. Okay, I'm very convinced that thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, some mother felt sorry for her son and made him believe he was actually something. And that is how the world became run by men bit by bit.
You know what I think is?
I am convinced by that.
I think it's the 2 years. My opinion is this, guys, and we can do another topic on this. My opinion is the 2 years you've given your daughter to a guy to just get to know whilst they're living together. That's my opinion, right? Because that men what they think is this. I had to go 2 years free sex. Brilliant. And that
I think any man that thinks like that is a cheap, disgusting man.
Yeah, what do you mean? Free and
freezing it like that, and it's
let's talk about this later. Let's talk about this later.
No. Let's carry on talking about it. It's very icky. I have a question. Like, okay, to keep saying that, she's a used woman. That he used her. Like, why? Why do you keep saying that? Because I've never heard a man talk like that before.
I have. His opinion is not rare. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
I'm taking up the psychology of a man.
Yeah.
Hold on, Kiro. Host, you're a man. Would you ever talk about a woman like that? That she's a used woman? Using a woman that you've been in a relationship with, but not married to.
Okay, without if you allow me to come from my first.
Go on, ask the honey.
If you allow me to articulate my position first of all, and then maybe I said it too fast. I think this apathy towards women comes from the fact that sex is a commodity. It's cheap. It's cheap now in our society. It's cheap. I think this changes how a man views women. I think when it's cheap. Okay, I lost my virginity to my wife. That's me. That's how I think. All right. I never used to date for sex, but I think that that could be one of the reasons. That's the topic, LCM, that you can pick up later, right? And see and analyze that, because these kind of forums correct, like you're the Muslim guy that came in and thinks like, being a man taking care of the kids is abnormal. We can correct that. We can start to make change in people, and so we want men to honor women, to respect women. And I think if they think sex is free, and it is free. And the things that I did here as a Middle Eastern guy growing up Christian, but growing up in Europe, it's awful. It's like, why did you go see a prostitute for you could have had a girlfriend? You know, and just make someone better. It's really cheap.
But you know, prostitution is the oldest trade going when it comes to women. So obviously, it's been around all this time. Why? Because who are the customers? Men.
Yeah, right.
So again, the problem is men. So I don't know. Sort your species out, you know.
Right. And who's this kid saying? Who's this kid comparing him to? He's comparing him to my daughters and your daughters. He's saying there's no need. Your daughters are just there available anyway.
Yeah, but this is why I'm saying that men need to sort this problem then. Because it's not the women that are bringing these men up, telling those young men. Like, Joyce, you've got a son. You said he's quite young right now. I've got 2 boys. Would you think either me or Joyce would be saying to our sons, oh, it's okay to, you know, just sleep around with whoever you want and not give a shit and go and sleep with prostitutes? No. That comes from the men.
Joyce, how do you feel about this, Joyce?
Well, let me explain. So
I have to go. Ladies have to go. Really have to go.
Kyle,
something we can explore later. Honestly, I'd really like to explore it later because I don't do. The people in this room, they're from a culture I'm not really living in. I have my own culture whilst in Europe, so it's interesting for me to learn from them. But I'd like to explore that because it's not right. It's not right. I'm not happy with what my friend did. I'm not happy to hear comments like, yeah, you know what? I just want to sleep with this lady's daughter for 2 years, and if I don't like it, you just for a man, he could be saying to himself, yeah, just 2 years just to.
But that's not what anyone meant when they said that, hero.
2 years.
None of them said that. And for all we know, that I could be thinking, oh, you know what, I'm just going to sleep with this man for 2 years and then get rid of him and trade him in for a better model.
I'm telling you how men think.
No, because you're valuing women's sexuality as something that's different to a man's sexuality. And that is where the problem lies. That is where sexism actually comes in. That's what you're doing. You're
actually valuing whether a woman sleeps with someone or not as a commodity rather than what she wears it rather than anything else.
I think he's trying to understand sort of like the sexual lives of people where there's no real commitment or value.
Thank you, Joyce.
Which is, and I think
would at least them feel.
Would you not be better asking men that as to why they do that, why they're sleeping with prostitutes or why they're sleeping with women just because, rather than asking for women?
I did, Rich. I did, and I changed a few of them. I changed a few of them, and that is the reason. All right. So, all right, that is the reason. I'll tell you what I told them later. Yeah. Let me tell you. Actually, I'll tell you what I told them.
I thought you had to go.
Yeah, okay, if you want me to.
Do you not need to go now? Okay. Good night.
Kyle, thank you, Kyle. I will see you tomorrow. I'll bring that subject, Kyle. Another day we can talk about it. Yeah, positive and negative masculinity. That would be a good conversation.
I think the problem, because the problem is, I think you can sleep with whomever you want to sleep with. It's up to you, but you have to remember that person is not just it's not a P and an F. There's people that are attached to the end of those parts. I think the problem is that
you think that way, but let me tell you what I told this guy. Should I just tell you what I told him? The one that changed his opinion.
But the reason why men don't think that way is because they're not raised properly.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
It's your culture.
No, it's not. It's no. Listen, I'm Nigerian. I'm Nigerian. So when it comes to the things that you said to me, I have brothers who think the same way. But with the difference in my culture is that my mum said to me that the true value of a person, they have to have discipline in all respects. If you go to sleep with someone, you make sure that you like that person, you love that person. It's not a case of, or there's a connection between that person. You don't sleep with them for S and giggles. Sex is not for play. And that is an idea that my mum said to everybody in my household. I'm one of 7. I have 3 older brothers. And that was a rule that she gave both of us, both men and female. And from an African household, that attitude is bloody rare. So let's just get that straight. So the problem is that value of interaction and sex has been devalued by everybody. The problem is everybody needs to figure out a way of really educating themselves to value that. It's not only a woman's problem, it's also a man's problem too.
Let me tell you one thing, if I may, this small example. Would you mind before I sleep? I just
Of course, go.
All right, that's why I told the guy, and it really changed him. It really changed one guy, right? But it changed one guy because he's the only person I said it to. So I met a guy in France, in Toulouse, from the States, and he sent me about his sex life, and he's really. We ended up going to a bar to have a drink, and I told him the difference between love and respect. I told him, look, imagine. I said, what's your girlfriend's name? Whatever, Jane. I forgot the name was Jane. I said, okay, imagine Jane. She owns an antique shop, right? And you go in, you enter this antique shop in Paris. So Paris is full of all these nice antique shops, right? Expensive stuff. And you go in, and there's no one there, and you see all these nice things of vases, paintings, chandeliers, and you say, hi, is this yours? And she goes, yeah, it's mine. And you say to her, that's lovely, Jane. Jane, this is absolutely lovely. This is yours too. And you touch it, and you say, is this for sale? And she goes, yeah, it's for sale. How much is it? Oh, it's perfect. And that's love. The woman feels appreciated. Everything you see, you appreciate it. That's
Thank you, Christina.
Right? You say it right. If that's love, then what's respect? If this in this example is love, what's respect? Respect is this: if you love it so much, pay for it. Pay for it with your life. It's not free.
So in today's news, women
hold on, Rachel, one second. One second. It's not free. You give a man something free. If I go to the shop, she gives me a painting that's worth a lot of money free. She goes, here, try it. Just try it for a week. Put it in. You take this painting, put it in your house for a week to see if you like it. I'll take it. I like it. I don't like it. If you give me something free, believe me or not, and I'm a nice guy, you'll find it in the garbage can. I'm a nice person. So I'm telling you how men think, right? This is male mentality, right? May not be, that's part of it, right? So this Jane, he came back to me and said, oh, Kira, yeah, what you told me yesterday, I just get life, we need to marry. He felt guilty, he felt absolutely guilt, right? Why feel guilt for because I've taken some, I know in my heart of hearts, I'm using something, don't really care about it, but it's free anyway. Who cares? But that's what I think. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, again, based on your point, shouldn't prostitutes be respected more because they do get paid to put out?
I think if
it's been in relationships that are actually
it's respected more. You're right. It's respected. The difference in package for a job you want. The prostitute actually got paid, but someone else's daughter didn't. If that's what you want to say. The only difference is that I love her. It's like me saying the prostitute actually got paid, and the other girl she ended up with a nice word, but I love you though. That's just ridiculous. All right, I have to go here. Bye. Good night.
Thank you, Carol.
In today's news, we're antique shops, lovely.
Just a disclaimer, I'm not antique shop.
I hate it when men do this and compare a woman to like commodities. Because I don't understand this nonsense. When two people are getting intimate, okay, you're both exchanging energies. It's not just one exchanging energy on their own. A woman's value does not go down based on how many people she's been with. The same way a man's value does not go up. But for some reason, some people in our society seem to think that the more women that a man's been with, his value goes up. Whereas the less men that a woman has been with, her value goes up. That's complete bullshit. When you are both intimate, you're actually exchanging so much more than just sex. You're exchanging so much energy.
Yes.
And the fact that you've got commodities, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I think I found it, I don't know if it is Kira or Cairo, but what I found difficult with him, I think obviously a lot of it is culture, and I think he was digging himself a little bit of a hole without realising it. wording that he was using. I think wording like used goods and things like that was just not really particularly pleasant. And aggression and relationships and stuff like, I don't necessarily know if he means it that way, but he's just saying it that way. Due to culture, I don't know, but I think obviously we're all different cultures, different backgrounds, but I don't enjoy it. I get the biggest it when men or anybody says about used goods is something that I really don't like to hear, because it's just not
I think
right.
any man that thinks like that is a walking, talking red fucking flag and not raised right by their parents.
Yeah. I think I'd like to say about the fruit analogy. It is true, because my husband, he's got certain friends that don't have the best morals, but he won't put himself around them. He'll distance himself from them. He doesn't go out with them. So if they say, do you want to come out? He'll respectfully decline, because he's like, I know what he's going to be up to. I don't want to see it. Obviously, he's not going to do it because he's not like a bird. He's like, I don't want to be around it. I don't like it. He knows his fiance or whatever. He doesn't want to be around it, so he will come away from it. Yeah, I get with that, what you were saying with that analogy. If you're all in it together, if one piece of fruit is rotten, it's all rotten.
Usually, it's a big
fruit. Yeah.
I'm telling you, if a man, all of his friends are the player type. Even if you think your man's not a player type, I'm telling you, he is.
Yeah.
You just haven't clocked on yet.
Yeah. No. So most of James's friends are quite
No, I'm not talking about James.
No, I know, but
general.
Yeah. All but one are fine and normal. There's one that isn't, but they've known each other since they were babies, so they kind of they keep their friendship, but he keeps a distance because he knows that he'll play up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, when it comes to Kyra talking about prostitution, some men are not lucky to be able to speak with women, nor be able to have opportunity to be with women. So that's one of the reasons why some men will go through that route of prostitution, paying the female for it. So that's what Kyra was asking. You don't know why, you don't understand. But in this case, Kyra was lucky, he found a partner, but some men can't get women. They don't know how to approach a woman. They don't have luck with women. Some men never dated women all their life. So going through that route is an easy route.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of that. So I don't, if I come across offensive, tell me to shut up. But I do think in some cultures or some families where something's restricted so much, you're more than likely going to go for it. It's like alcohol. Let's give that as an example. If your parents super, super strict and they make a huge, huge fuss of it, you're more than likely going to be I'm going to do this, I'm going to steal it, I'm going to drink it. Whereas if it's open and it's not a case of dookie one, but there's more sort of conversation around it and it's not so strict, you're less likely to actually be interested because your parents haven't made a huge deal of being super strict about it. So you're not going to try and play up because you've got nothing to play up to because they haven't made a big deal of it. So I do think sometimes in culture when somebody makes something so strict and they're so hard on you about something, you're likely to go the other way and do what you should do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, also, yeah.
And I think a rise in all of this is also due to colonization. And the reason why I say that, is because even if you look at India, we used to wear saris without blouses. But the little crop top that we wear with saris now? We never used to wear those crop tops with the saris. We used to wear them on their own. The reason why those crop tops were introduced was because we were called savages by the British and were forced to start wearing those. And I think that has, you know, it wasn't until the British came to India that homosexuality was illegal. In a lot of countries, it wasn't illegal. We know that homosexuality has been around as long as men have been around.
True, yeah.
Okay, and when I say men, I mean both men and women. As long as we've been around, because you know what? Honestly, if it was a choice, I swear to God, I would be a lesbian. Swear to God. I am that done with men after my last marriage with that experience. But then that's what's made me understand that actually sexuality is not a choice. You're attracted to who you're attracted to, end of. And even now, if you see a lot of the world where there's been oppression in regards to sexuality, where there's been oppression in regards to expressing themselves in that way, okay, whether you look at parts of Africa, whether you look at parts of Asia, it has come from the time of colonization.
Yeah.
Colonization, as long as it's, you know, yes, it's been demolished a long time ago, but the effects are still alive today in all these communities.
Oh yeah, definitely. And kind of, I would argue that it didn't end a long time ago either. Like, I mean, I won't go fully into it.
It did end a long time ago, but what I mean is it's affecting
the attitude. Yeah, the attitudes can still be, exactly. But the weird thing is though, you know, when you said like you have to wear a crop top because the British were like that's savage.
Yeah.
Then if you look at like, I'm not being snobby here or anything, but like a lot of British women don't exactly.
But that's now. That wasn't back when colonization was a thing.
Yeah, but now, like, if you look at it now, we get all these horrible people that moan about, for example, women who like to cover themselves, and they're horrible about it, and they're like, oh, they have to cover themselves because of their... Maybe that woman just wants to cover her body, like it's none of your business. So I just find it really bizarre how it's kind of tipped on its head like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's more...
Britain saying to you, like, you're savage for not having a crop top on, and then now we're saying, oh, you're covered up weird. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even if you see in parts of Africa as well, you know, there's still quite a few places where they don't feel the need to wear a top because their body is not sexualized in that way. People don't see it as a sexual thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's seen as a norm.
It's a cultural thing. And then the tourists, some of the tourists, they turn into like sexual thing.
Predators.
Yeah.
That's what they turn into. Because for them it's fascinating. For them they think, oh my God, what the fuck? Now I know one of my friends, she's from Portugal, and you know, I
grew up in Portugal.
Years ago, her dad had come to visit.
Yeah.
And she needed to get dressed and change. She got to change in front of her dad, and I was like, hold on, that's a bit weird.
No, that's a bit weird.
Because you're sexualizing the body. It's never about sexualization of a body. That's what we have been taught to do.
Yeah, but in this case,
culture is still not seen like that. And I praise those cultures because that's how it should be. Since when, you know, it's only now that we have started sexualizing women breastfeeding as well. People have issues with women breastfeeding in public because they see breasts as a sexual thing rather than as a nourishing thing for a baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
That winds me right up because my sister breastfeeds, and she's had so many people that have been. She was sat next to somebody, and the baby started to cry, so she started to feed him. And the woman that was sat next to her turned to her and said, oh, it's okay, I don't mind. And my sister was like, I didn't ask if you did, like, he's hungry, so I'm going to feed him. Mind your business. Yeah.
Yeah, Raj.
And it's, yeah.
Raj, what you mentioned about your friend from Portugal. I grew up in Portugal, I speak Portuguese fluently. In this case, she's an adult, she shouldn't be dressing, walking, you know, exposing herself in front of her dad. I think there might be something that happened to her when she was growing up.
No, it wasn't like she was like butt naked or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah.
She was just changing the t-shirt.
Oh, right.
I couldn't do that in front of my dad.
Oh, yeah, definitely
No,
not.
I found it a bit weird.
Yeah, it is weird because that's what I mean, like, maybe something happened to her within the family, you know? Or if you just said, Or if you had a bra and change the t-shirt, maybe that's all right. But
yeah. I mean, now I've got to do my
t-shirt. I could have just, obviously we've got a bra underneath, but I could have just turned around and face it other way, but be in the same room as my dad, change my t-shirt. I couldn't.
Yeah, it will make sense. It will make sense.
Yeah, I've got 3 girls, sorry. Don't forget, because the little one's dropped out of nowhere, like huge age gap. Anyway, yeah, so I've got 3 girls and 2 older girls. So there came a point where James felt like, right, this is the point where I shouldn't really be entering the room when they're changing. They need their privacy. And also on the same footing, if he's getting changed, he'll say to them, don't come in because I'm getting changed right now, because he wants to make sure that that boundary is there. And also, I do think, I do agree with that. It's not that it's people are being sexualised, it's also a boundary thing and having privacy. So it's not necessarily that we're sexualising things, it's a boundary and putting that in place of, this is my private place and I'm getting changed and I don't want you to come in, and vice versa. And I think that's fine. And with girls especially, like, they do get to an age where they don't want you coming in, even me as their mum. They'll say, Mummy, don't come in, I'm getting changed, because they want their privacy.
I think you should encourage it.
I'm waiting for the day where my boys want privacy, because somehow it's like they will end up, I don't know if this happens in your house, Sam, but like if one of my boys is having a bath or whatever, obviously they'll have like the shower curtain there, but still they'll have like a full-on conversation. The other one will be sitting with the toilet lid down, and they'll be like just talking away, and I'm like, this is super weird.
If it's still male, I don't think it's normal, but I think Sam, when you spoke about, I think it's a good thing as well to get keep used to. I mean, having their own privacy, and also you and your partner speaking with the kids, and that's really good thing. But right, regarding your kid, if it's still male, it's okay. But I think if it's still male doing that, right, is normal. If it's still female doing that to sister, I think it should be normal. But however, when it's male and female, for example, if a female was having a shower, male sat on the toilet having a conversation, that's not going to be a good idea. As Sam mentioned, you need to separate things.
I mean, if you think about it, I don't know if you're the same. Whenever I've had, I mean, I don't get what now because I've got 3 kids, but back in the day when I'd actually get a night out, we would all us girls would go to the toilet together, things like that. But not necessarily though, just because it's part of it was for safety as well. Like me and my friends have always had that kind of relationship of nobody's left behind. So if someone goes to the toilet, we all go. If somebody walks out, we all walk out together. But a lot of women do that. Like, men will say, why do you always go to the toilet together? Like, we don't know. It's just something that we do partly for safety and partly it just becomes the norm. And also, you make friends that you're never ever going to meet again in that. Like, it's like walking into another dimension when you go into the bathroom. And there's like a girl crying in the corner over her boyfriend, and then there's another girl putting makeup on, and there's people selling the perfume and stuff, and you're like spraying all the perfume. Like, it's just crazy. But yeah, women do tend to like move in groups, I think, together when they're out and about as well.
Yeah, safety is the first thing, I think. The reason for safety.
Yeah, exactly. I think I don't like women who go on a night out and abandon a friend. If you go on a night out with somebody, you should stay with them. I don't appreciate being abandoned.
Yeah, I work as a bouncer sometimes on my days off. I used to have my own company, so I used to provide services as a bouncer in local town, at least. And then what you mentioned, Sam, it happened mostly with the younger ones. The younger ones tend to abandon each other. Or if one is drunk, they won't get taxed and take that person home. They'll try to insist, can you please bring him in? Can you please bring it? And then sometimes they'll just leave them there and then carry on, with their life. But it's mostly the younger ones.
I've never got somebody who I can't explicitly trust. Like, rarely go out first of all. But when I do go out, 99% of the time it's going to be with Z.
All right. Yeah.
And it's like we will go together, we will come back together.
Exactly.
On the odd occasion, you know, on the odd occasion, she's gone back to her place and I've gone back to my place. And even though it works out more expensive because we live in different parts, is that whichever one is least drunk will be dropped off last out of me and her. We'll always stick together, no matter what.
Yeah, so, I really don't like it. I've had the experience of meeting a couple of new friends where I've been left on my own and I've been texting like another friend and they're like, oh my God, just come home. And I'm like, I can't, because even though they've left me, I feel bad about leaving them. I really don't like it. I think it's so unsafe and I just think it's not a nice thing to do. But even men, like, there was a night out before we had children, years and years ago, with James, and one of his friends had gotten really drunk, and the bouncer wouldn't let him in. They didn't all abandon him and leave him outside. They put him in a taxi and paid the taxi driver, and then they went into the bar. They didn't just say, "Oh, sucks, you can't come in, bye," and leave him. Like, they put him in a taxi and gave the taxi driver the money and sent him home first. So even the guys are like exhibiting like safety behaviour with each other, kind of thing. But like it's saddening to hear that it's young people that are doing this, because I really do worry a little bit for when my daughters get of that age. But it's not very nice to hear that young people are doing that. I would have thought that they would be more sort of safe, but maybe not.
Now, man, you know, on mine and C's nights out, because I don't go out that often, I'm usually in the library, out me and her. We had so much shit go on. Like, one time we went to Borderson. I had my phone stolen. Me and her were looking for my phone throughout the whole place. We were there until it closed. And it's like, we got back home together and whatnot. But it's like, usually what we tend to do is my kids and her daughter will stay in the same place and we'll go back to that place after. So regardless of whatever, it's only been like once or twice where we've ended up going back to our own places. And that's because she's not got her daughter or I've not got my kids. But yeah.
I mean, I've got, you know how everyone's got like one best friend in the world that they are like your person, they'll do anything to help you. You might not speak for a long time, but when you need them, they're there, and vice versa. And I've got one friend like that, and the amount of times like she's saved me from potentially really sticky situations, especially when I was a lot younger and naive. Sort of like there was a night out where I was really sick because I'd been really silly and drank. Like, obviously you learn as you get older not to do this, but I was young and naive, and I was in the bathroom, but the bar had kind of started to close, and this guy had come in and I didn't realise that he was stood behind me. Then she appeared from nowhere and was like, sort of barked at him like, get out, kind of thing. And then she was like, come on, Sam, like, we're going home, we've got a taxi. Like, she's just always, we kind of grew up together, we've known each other since we were like teenagers. But she's just always been there. And when I went through my young, naive stage, she was always there to kind of protect me a little bit. So, yeah, I think everybody has, well, I like to think that everybody has their person in the world that they can go to for anything. She's definitely mine.
Z is my person, man.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of shit that we've been through together is unreal.
And also, like, I don't care if my house is a mess. I'm in my pajamas covered in baby milk and my hair's a mess and I haven't brushed my teeth, like, because she doesn't give a shit. But if it was like one of a school friend's mum or something like that, I'd feel like I quickly need to get my housework done, need to get dressed and stuff. But with a true friend, like, they don't care if you don't care, really, particularly about stuff like that.
But they're not really friends, they're acquaintances. Because I see, like, my school friend moms, they're acquaintances, they're not my friends.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of fakeness, which I don't enjoy. I like to get in and out of school because the fakeness, it drives me insane, and I don't like to partake in it. So I'm the antisocial one that's there to pick up and go home only, and that's it. No more.
Yeah, it is really important to have a close friends. Unfortunately, not many people got close friends, people that can, be there, help them. Like Sam mentioned, you got someone that not only comes in and check on you when you go out, but not many people got that. But yeah, a few group of young people, they don't care about each other. If one is drunk, they'll leave you outside. If the bouncer won't let you in, they won't leave you out. They will leave you outside rather than getting a taxi. Because also, taxi driver don't like to take drunk people unless you got a friend who is sober that can go with you. But yeah, unfortunately, some young people, they will just abandon their colleagues when they go out nightclub. And then even worse, when they go from one city to another or from one town to city and abandon each other, it's not good at all.
Yeah, that's really unsafe, and I really don't like that. And like you say, a taxi driver is more likely to accept somebody if they're with a sober person than just somebody like that on their own, because they're going to probably wreck the inside of that taxi.
Exactly.
Just to leave somebody like, I don't have that mindset. And I just don't get how women can have that mindset of it's okay just to leave somebody who is now incohesive and unable to really understand what's going on around them, their surroundings, and they think it's okay just to leave them. That's really blew my mind that young people are the worst for doing that. Like, that's just so bad.
I think some parents need to have more conversation about the kids when they're going out. So to look after each other. Or at least ring their parents, let them know that, look, such and such is drunk, we want to stay out. Is it possible to come and collect them? But afterwards, some group of young people help each other. The other group, they don't help each other. They don't even give a damn. They don't care.
Do bars like bring taxis for people now, or not really?
You're right, Dan. Rules always come together, go together. Well, bars, it depends on the person. If some managers, like female manager, they'll do that. They'll worry about the person. They can get taxi. But when it comes to security, most of security won't ring the taxi. Also, if that person is drunk, if the security ring the taxi, they don't take a registration number, and something happened with that person, then it can only come back to security. But yeah, I do know some managers, bar managers, that ran taxi in the past for drunk person. It's all depends on the person. Some people got this caring spirit, and some people don't. Some people don't give a damn.
Yeah, I get what you mean though about if you were to bring a taxi and they get into the wrong car and something happens and it coming back on you.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if this happens anymore because, as I say, since I had children, I don't really go out very often. Back in the day, there used to literally be like a taxi they used to have a strip where all the taxis would be, not just black cabs, but normal taxis as well. And there'd be like a guy with clipboard, and you'd queue up, and he would put each person into the taxi, and he would like take your name, give the registration number to make sure that people were getting into registered taxis, literally like a manned taxi rank. But this is going back years ago now, like 15 years, so I don't know if that still happens in cities and stuff.
Well, now, some part of England, we used to go people called Samaritan. You used to have Samaritan walking around. They used to have people with flip-flop in the wintertime. They also used to have drunk people get into the right taxi. But town where I live, I don't see Samaritan anymore. So, but yeah, when it comes to taxi, they're still doing the same thing. You can get taxi in different area around town or around nightclubs where people can just go and get taxi. But in terms of like you mentioned, what they used to do with the clipboard, I don't see it anymore.
See, that's a shame because that obviously was a good thing. Like, it would be an owned taxi firm, and they would employ somebody to stand out there and ensure that only their taxis, their like their registered taxis being used, because there are people, and it probably does still happen now. When I used to go out, there would be people who would just want to make a bit of money, and they would just park outside of bars and pretend to be a taxi and say, like, I'm a taxi, get in, like, it's this much, and you don't realise you get in and you don't know who you're sitting in the car with, and that probably does happen now. That's why it's so important. I think as well, with Uber and stuff like that, you get like a tracking thing now, don't you, where you can share.
Yeah, most of the taxi they got a tracking system. Myself as well, I'm a person with different kind of license. I do have a private eye license as well, but I only work taxi for 3 months. I stopped it because it's too much. Because my main job, I sit down in the office most of the time and I walk around. And taxi as well, just sit down. But yeah, most of the taxi companies, the registered company, they can be tracked, and if anything happens, then they can, get in trouble. But yeah, what you said about some people pretending to have a taxi, I think you mentioned mostly in the big cities. Like, Rouge said something that not in London. So yeah, places like London, you might get people pretending to be a taxi driver.
I mean, we did it once. It was my friend's 18th birthday, and we'd had really bad snow. And we were like, we're not letting it stop us. We went out in this horrific snow, and obviously all the taxis were like, no, it's dangerous, we're not driving. So all the cars that were there were non-registered taxis. But like I say, because it was still a stupid thing to do, but we needed to get home. But we were very much go together, leave together. There was like 4 of us. So there was 4 of us in that taxi, car. And we all went back to the same location. But obviously, if you're a woman getting in there on your own, that isn't a good thing, is it? Well, getting in there at all. But if there's 4 of you, you probably safety of numbers and all that. But yeah, just dangerous.
Yeah, as a group. But yeah, taxi, there's a lot of control when it comes to taxi. You won't be able to get like just normal person that pretend to be a taxi driver. But there's always somebody out there trying to, being different when it comes to different things.
I think I think it should be a rule, like, if somebody's trying to drag their incoherent, too drunk friend into the bar, maybe you should say, like, neither of you are coming in until that one's in a taxi home, and I don't want to see her abandoned out here, or you're not coming in. But then I suppose it's difficult to man that, isn't it? And then the person who owns the bar might not particularly like that either.
Some bouncer will do that, but again, it's not bouncer's job to stop that person from going in because of the friend. Obviously, they can make complaint about bouncer not letting them in. When it comes to management, sometimes some manager will come out smoke. If they see such situation happening, then they will just help that person get taxi. Also, with taxi driver, for example, in town, some management, some security guards or bouncer, we know taxi driver knows us. So sometimes if the person is drunk, we depend on the bouncer. If this bouncer decides to help this person get taxi, and also before get taxi, make sure that this person got bank card or money to pay for taxi, and the distance, you can always go speak with the taxi driver. Say, look, this person is drunk. Either they have a friend, the friend don't want to go home. Could you please, help this person? And you ask the person, can you clarify where your address is, stuff like that. And but yeah, it depends on the person. But as a bouncer, you're not allowed to tell somebody, I'm not going to let you in because you're a friend. But some bouncers do that. But rarely happens. Rouge, Dem says she won't trust taxi driver Uber. Dem, you definitely live in London, because London or Manchester, Birmingham, and maybe places like that, big places you won't trust.
Yeah, so I'm from a city. I live in a town.
Birmingham.
City. There's certain firms that we'll use over others, is what I would say. So, like there's a taxi firm that I've used for years, and the same woman has worked there on desk for years as well, the same drivers, and you kind of get to know them a little bit when you've been in the car on your way to work and things like that. So I'll only use that particular firm. But yeah, I get what Dem is saying. There are some questionable taxi drivers.
Yeah,
some of it is Uber. I don't think Uber are the best. I think if you can stick with like an actual taxi firm that's been around for quite a while, they're your best bet, because if they've been in business for so many years, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So you can't do that in London.
Yeah, them speaking about Birmingham. Yeah, Birmingham, yeah.
What? I've never had a bad experience with an Uber driver.
See, my mum used to say to me, she used to say, never sit if you go on your own somewhere in a taxi. And it's something that I've implemented with my two older daughters. If you're on your own taxi, never sit in the passenger seat and never sit behind the driver. Because if you sit in the passenger seat, you're very close for them to overpower you. And if you sit behind them, they can just ram their chair backwards. Whereas if you sit behind the passenger seat, you've got more of your furthest away that you could possibly be. And she just used, I don't know why, I don't know if she had a bad experience maybe, but she just used to always drill that into me from an age where I wouldn't be using taxis. That is the advice she used to give, but it makes sense though, to be fair. Now that I'm an adult, like, it actually makes sense, because you're in the best position you could possibly be if you want to get out.
Yeah. Do you not think, like, as we grow older, we realise that our parents are more and more right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I literally hate myself. I say something that my mother used to say, and I'm like, turn into her. Honestly.
I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, right.
I can hear myself saying it as well, but I'm turning into my mother.
Yeah, damn, yeah. Taxi company, there's a demand, even locally, there's a demand for new taxi drivers. And also, it's not easy to get a license, for private taxi or for cab. But we don't have cab locally. But yeah, there's a demand for taxi driver. That's why they don't just employ any person with a license, because there's a demand. Otherwise,
Don't you have to go to the GP before you can be a taxi driver?
Yeah, you need to go for exam. You go some exam you need to do with GP. But what I'm talking about is people who already got license. Them say that no, they employ anyone, but you have to be someone with a license. You cannot be employed in England without a license. But
anyways, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna do my bullshit live.
Okay, I appreciate you, ladies. Thank you so much. Raj, I'll put my phone charge and I'll come to your live. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night, ladies. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. Yeah. Some on the comment, Birmingham. Yeah. Birmingham. But yeah. Well, it's been good today. A lot of respect shown today between guests. Adults speaking to each other. That was good. Well, we normally bring the panel, but sometimes we'll end up directing to another conversation, which is part of life. That's why this channel is called, this page and YouTube channel is called Learning Cycle Media, because life is about cycle and learning. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I'm glad to, yeah, life is about learning. Life is about cycle. And then people that mentioned as well, they've been married for like 15, 20 years. It's this life cycle. It was not easy to be married for 20 years or 15 years. But for people that was married for 15, 20 years, it's good that they came in to share their opinion for other women as well to know that life is not about fairy tale. Okay, things gonna happen in life, but it don't mean that marriage need to end because of things that happen in life. Yeah, Rouge, Lewis, Sister Rouge, Rush, thank you so much, sister, for coming in today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rush. Thank you. Have a good night. But yeah, them as well, sister. Thank you so much. Thank you, every person that came in. I'm gonna go off, put my phone charging. Then I'll be going to Ratch live to support the live. But it's been so good. Nearly 4 hours conversation, which is helpful as well for me and my TikTok. I'm on because there's 60 stages to reach. So to be able to have TikTok to reach TikTok maximum goals, and also to have all kind of benefit with TikTok. So I'm on 15. So after this live, I should go to 16. But I'm trying to get to 18. Then from 18, then I'm going to carry on going live to bring different panel. And then it's good to have people coming in and speaking. Okay, people, thank you so much. Rush, sister, thank you. Somebody watching, I would have to say thank you to this person watching, but I'm going to have to go. So nearly 4 hours live. It's good live. Yeah, this is Learning Psycho Media 24/7. My name is Usati or Usate. Someday I will write it down in the comments so people know my name. But locally, people call me Napa, Nappa, Napa, like I am Napa. But yeah, thank you all. Have a good night. Well, I'm about to leave, and TikTok's telling me that 5 people are engaged so far, and then there's only 1 person. Okay, then thank you all. Bye. Steve Boy 77. I'm just about to go off. Thank you for coming live. Have a good night, guys. And thank you, YouTube. The subject, the panel today was about what do you think about feminism? Personally, what do you think about feminism? Okay, and then, but yeah, we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you, YouTube, and thank you, TikTok. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.